have waited a long time for this moment, my child. Longer than you realize. Longer than the nights you spent staring into the darkness wondering if anything would ever change. Longer than the prayers you whispered when nobody else could hear. And that is why I need you to stop for a moment and listen carefully, because what you are hearing now is not just another message passing through your day. At last the moment we've all been waiting for has arrived. Not only you, not only the people around you. Heaven has been watching this moment approach. The prayers you thought were forgotten have been moving toward this point. The tears you cried in secret have been leading here. The doors that closed, the delays that frustrated you, the seasons that tested your faith beyond what felt fair, they were all part of a journey that has been carrying you toward something your heart has sensed but could not fully see. That feeling inside you right now is not an accident. You did not stumble onto this message by chance. Out of all the things you could be doing, out of all the places your attention could have landed, your eyes stopped here. Your heart paused here. Something inside you told you not to move on so quickly. Pay attention to that. I have been speaking to you in ways you did not always recognize. Through moments of silence, through unexpected detours, through the strange persistence of a hope that refused to completely die, even when disappointment tried to bury it. There were times when you thought you were losing ground. Times when you questioned whether the waiting had any purpose. Times when you wondered if everyone else was moving forward while your life remained stuck in the same chapter. I saw every one of those moments. I saw you carrying questions you never spoke aloud. I saw the exhaustion hidden behind your smile. I saw the weight of responsibilities, disappointments, and unanswered prayers pressing against your spirit. And I also saw something else. I saw you continue. I saw you take another step when you wanted to stop. I saw you keep believing when certainty was nowhere to be found. That is why this moment matters. Because if you leave too quickly, you may miss what your spirit has been asking me to reveal. You may miss the connection between your past struggles and what I am preparing to show you. You may walk away before understanding why certain doors had to close, why certain seasons lasted longer than expected, and why I never abandoned you even when it felt as though heaven had gone quiet. So stay with me. Do not rush through these next moments. Set aside the distractions. Let the noise wait. Let your questions rest for a little while. Give your heart permission to listen. Because what comes next is not merely information. It is understanding. It is confirmation. It is the beginning of seeing your story through my eyes instead of through the lens of your pain. And before this message is finished, you may finally understand why the waiting was necessary, why the road was longer than you expected, and why, at last, the moment we've all been waiting for is not somewhere in the future anymore. It is standing right in front of you. Now come closer, my beloved child, and let me show you what I have been preparing all along. My beloved child, what I am about to say to you is not something I want you to rush through. You have carried this longing for so long that part of you has learned how to survive by pretending not to expect too much anymore. You learned how to protect your heart by lowering your hopes, by telling yourself that maybe this is simply how life will always feel, that maybe the answers would always remain just out of reach, that maybe the peace you kept praying for was meant for someone else who knew how to receive it better than you. But I need you to hear me carefully now, because I want this truth to settle inside you more deeply than all the disappointment that came before it. The moment you have quietly waited for, the one your spirit has sensed even when your mind could not explain it, is no longer far away from you. You are not standing outside of it anymore. You are standing in it now. I know you have had many moments in the past when you thought something was about to change and then it didn't happen the way you hoped. I know how that taught you caution. I know how that made you hesitate whenever your heart started to feel expectation again. You became careful with your own faith because it hurt too much to believe too openly, and then watch the outcome fall apart in your hands. I saw every one of those moments. I saw the way you tried to stay strong when things slipped away. I saw the way you smiled when you didn't have words for what was breaking inside you. I saw the conversations you had with yourself late at night when you were trying to understand why it felt like life kept asking you to endure more than you ever asked for. And through all of that, even when you could not trace what I was doing, I was never absent from you. I was not standing at a distance while you stumbled through the dark. I was in every hidden place where you thought no one could see. I was in the doors that did not open, in the timing that did not make sense, in the detours that frustrated you, and even in the pauses that felt unbearable. You called some of it delay. You called some of it confusion. You called some of it heartbreak. But I knew what each season was shaping in you. I knew what still needed to be healed before you could hold what was coming without breaking under its weight. I knew what had to be removed from your path before I could safely place certain things into your life. You have spent more time than you realize standing at the edge of this transition, and because the road was long, you started believing the edge was the destination. It was never the destination. It was only the place where I was teaching you how to trust me when there was no applause, no visible proof, and no immediate reward. That is why this moment matters so much, because it is not random and it is not shallow. It is not one more emotional lift that disappears by tomorrow morning. This is the beginning of a real inner shift, and I want you to understand that before you look for evidence in the visible world. I want you to feel it first where it matters most. I want you to notice how something in you has started to soften, how something in you is less frantic than it used to be, how your heart has begun to recognize that I am not just asking you to survive anymore. I am asking you to receive. That is different, and I know receiving can feel harder than surviving when you have lived too long in defense mode. But you do not have to brace yourself against my goodness. You do not have to question whether you deserve the peace I am bringing close to you. You do not have to earn every breath of comfort before you allow yourself to feel it. You are not entering this moment because you finally became flawless. You are here because I carried you through what was trying to convince you that you would never arrive. That is why I want you to be still with me right now. Not passive, not disconnected, but still enough to recognize that something sacred is unfolding in your life. You may not yet have all the details. You may not be able to explain to someone else exactly what has changed. But deep inside, if you are honest, you can already feel that something is not the same. You are not as trapped as you were. You are not as numb as you were. You are not as lost as you were. Even if your circumstances still look unfinished, your spirit is beginning to wake up to the fact that the season is shifting. That is not your imagination. That is me drawing near in a way you can finally recognize. And because I love you, I want to tell you something that will help you walk through this moment without ruining it by fear. Do not expect this holy turning point to look like noise. Do not expect it to arrive with the kind of drama that your anxious thoughts have trained you to watch for. So much of what I do in your life begins quietly because I am not trying to impress your panic. I am trying to heal your heart. You have been so conditioned by struggle that part of you thinks anything important must come wrapped in intensity, urgency, or pressure. But what I am doing now will carry a steadier feeling than that. It may come as a peace you did not force. It may come as clarity where there used to be confusion. It may come as a door opening that does not require you to betray yourself to walk through it. It may come as a conversation that settles something in you that has been restless for years. It may come as a release from an inner burden you have carried so long that you forgot what life feels like without it. I want you to be careful not to miss the sacred because it doesn't arrive the way your pain taught you to expect it. You have learned to scan for danger. You have learned to anticipate disappointment before it has the chance to surprise you. You have learned to emotionally step back the moment something begins to look hopeful, because you are afraid that hope will make you vulnerable again. I understand why you became that way. I know exactly which disappointments taught you those habits. I know the promises that were broken in front of you. I know the prayers that seemed to go unanswered long enough to make you question whether you were even being heard. I know the places where trust became difficult for you, not because you wanted to be distant, but because you were tired of being hurt. But I am asking you now, as your father, to loosen your grip on that old posture. I am not asking you to become reckless. I am not asking you to pretend your scars do not exist. I am asking you to stop assuming that every good thing will collapse just because other things did. What failed in the past does not have authority over what I am doing now. What left you wounded does not need to define what comes next. This is where I need you to walk with me differently. Let this moment unfold without interrogating it to death. Let it breathe. Let yourself notice the signs of life I am placing around you. Let yourself acknowledge the change that is already happening within you. You do not need to have every answer before you trust the direction of my hand. I know that is difficult for you because you have been trying for so long to manage uncertainty by overthinking it, analyzing it, preparing for every possible disappointment so that nothing catches you off guard. But that habit has exhausted you. It has kept you in survival longer than necessary. It has made rest feel suspicious and peace feel temporary. I want better for you than that. I want you to experience what it means to walk into a new chapter without dragging the old atmosphere into it. This is why I am speaking to you so intimately now. I want you to recognize that what you have been waiting for is not only an external breakthrough. It is also an internal permission. Permission to stop living like the door will always stay shut. Permission to stop speaking to yourself as though your life is permanently delayed. Permission to believe that your story is not circling the same mountain forever. You have come farther than your fear admits. You have healed more than your memories acknowledge. You have grown in places that even you have not fully honored yet. And now, at last, the moment you have been waiting for is not simply approaching. It is here. And I do not want you to meet it with suspicion. I want you to meet it with an open heart, steady breath, and quiet trust. Stay close to me in this. Do not rush ahead, and do not retreat. Just stay with me. I will show you what this new beginning is meant to become, and I will not leave you halfway through it. My beloved child, before you step any farther into what I am opening for you, I want you to stop and look back with me for a moment, not to pull you into old pain, but to help you finally understand what your heart has been carrying all this time. You have called that season waiting, and in many ways that word is true, but it is not the whole truth. You were not simply waiting in some abandoned hallway while I stayed silent behind a locked door. You were being formed. You were being steadied. You were being prepared in ways that could not have happened if everything had arrived the moment you first asked for it. I know how difficult that is for you to accept, especially because some of those months, and for you perhaps even years, felt painfully still. You kept waking up to the same unanswered questions. You kept trying to trust me while the visible pieces of your life looked unchanged. You watched others move ahead, celebrate, build, receive, and step into things you secretly prayed for, and meanwhile you were left trying to make sense of the silence. I saw how that affected you. I saw the quiet comparisons you tried to resist. I saw the confusion that settled over your thoughts when you wondered if you had somehow missed your time. I saw how your confidence was tested by every delay. There were days when you still believed, And there were other days when your faith felt more like a tired whisper than a strong declaration. Yet even then, you were not outside of my care. You were not lost in a forgotten corner of your own story. I was deeply involved in every hidden layer of what you thought was a pause. I was teaching you things your future would require. I was slowing down parts of you that had learned to rush out of fear. I was loosening your attachment to outcomes that looked right on the surface, but would have emptied you later. I was healing your need to measure your worth by visible progress. I was correcting the way pain had taught you to think about timing, success, and identity. You thought you were only enduring a delay, but I was building endurance in you that would become part of your peace. I was reshaping how you carry disappointment so it would no longer control the way you see yourself. I was making room in you for a blessing that would not just excite you for a moment, but actually fit the life I designed for you. That kind of preparation rarely feels dramatic. It often feels hidden, plain, even frustrating. But do not mistake hidden work for absent love. Do not call a sacred process empty just because it did not entertain your expectations. What I was doing in you during those quiet seasons was not shallow. It was deep work. It was soul work. It was a kind of work that changes how you love, how you choose, how you trust, how you respond under pressure, and how you carry what once would have crushed you. I want you to understand that now, because if you keep labeling that entire season as wasted, you will walk into your next chapter with the wrong interpretation of your own story. And I do not want that for you. I want you to stop calling yourself delayed in a defeated way. I want you to stop speaking about your life as though I misplaced your future. Come here in your heart and listen to me closely. I did not lose your timing. I did not forget your prayers. I did not stand by while your hope wore thin. I was inside the very process that made you think nothing was happening. You were growing in places no one could applaud because no one else could fully see them. You were becoming less fragile in ways that matter. You were learning to hear me beneath the noise. You were learning to tell the difference between what glitters and what is truly good for you. You were learning how to sit in uncertainty without letting fear become your master. That matters more than you know. That is why I want you to release the old language you have used about that season. Stop saying, nothing was happening. Stop saying, I was stuck. Stop saying, I lost so much time. Let me help you tell the truth instead. Say this within yourself if you need to. I was being prepared in ways I could not yet see. Hold that. Breathe with that. Let that thought settle where shame once lived. Because once you begin to understand that your waiting was not empty, you will stop resenting the road that helped make you ready. And now I want you to let this truth go even deeper, because there is something else you need to see before you move forward. The waiting did not only shape your strength, it revealed your heart. It showed you what you still leaned on when life became uncertain. It exposed the places where you were still trying to control outcomes so you would not have to feel vulnerable. It uncovered how much of your peace depended on visible confirmation. That is not me condemning you, my child. That is me speaking honestly with tenderness, because I want you free. I want you to recognize that part of why the waiting felt so intense was not only because the answer had not arrived. It was also because the waiting pressed against every place in you that had not yet learned how to rest in me. You had to sit with your own thoughts. You had to confront old fears. You had to face the ache of not knowing. You had to realize how quickly disappointment could try to become identity if you were not careful. And even though that was uncomfortable, it was holy. It was holy because you began to see yourself more clearly. You began to notice how often you were carrying pressure that I never asked you to carry. You began to notice how much energy went into trying to predict what might go wrong. You began to notice how difficult it was for you to simply receive peace without first negotiating for it. That awareness was not punishment. It was invitation. It was me drawing your attention to the inner places that needed healing before the outer blessing could be trusted in your hands. I need you to understand something important now. The gift you were waiting for was never only the thing itself. It was also the version of you who would finally know how to hold it without being ruled by fear, pride, desperation, or self-doubt. That is why the process had to be deeper than a quick answer. That is why I did not simply hand you a breakthrough while the inside of you was still exhausted, reactive, and emotionally bruised in ways you had not yet faced. I love you too much to give you something that your unhealed patterns would sabotage. I love you too much to let your own survival habits become the reason you cannot enjoy what I have prepared. So listen to me now and receive this like medicine. The waiting did not steal from you as much as you think. In many ways, it saved you. It saved you from rushing into places that would have rewarded your impatience but starved your soul. It saved you from connections that looked promising but would have hollowed you out. It saved you from opportunities that matched your urgency, but not your calling. It saved you from repeating cycles you were too tired to recognize at the time. I know it hurt. I know some of those days felt like dry ground under a burning sky. I know there were prayers that came out of you with tears, with frustration, with that quiet ache that only comes when you feel forgotten. I heard every one of them. And even when you could not feel immediate relief, I was there, working underneath what your eyes could not measure. So now I want you to do something brave. Stop mourning that season as if it only wounded you. Honor it for what it gave you. Let yourself acknowledge that you are not the same person who first entered that waiting. You think more carefully now. You sense more deeply now. You can feel the difference between forced movement and genuine peace more clearly than before. Your discernment has sharpened. Your compassion has deepened. Your hunger for what is real has grown stronger. Even your tears changed you. They softened places that once hardened under pressure. They taught you how to be honest with me. They stripped away pretenses you no longer needed. So as you step into what comes next, do not drag resentment about the process into the promise. Lay it down. Release it. Thank me for what I was doing, even if you only understand part of it right now. Then open your hands. Invite me again. Say in your spirit, Father, teach me how to receive what this season prepared me for. That is how you move forward cleanly. That is how you cross into the next chapter without letting old grief contaminate new grace. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not a life that stalled out in the middle. You are a life that was being shaped in secret, and now what was hidden is beginning to make sense. My beloved, now that you see your waiting was not empty, you not let this moment pass without purpose. What I formed in you was not only for you, it was all meant to pour into others who are still sitting in silent seasons. When you give, you are sowing into hearts that are asking the same questions you once whispered in the dark. Did I not say, cast your bread upon the waters, and it will return to you in due time? This is that moment. This is the seed. This is the soil. This is the appointed hour. If your heart has been stirred, that is my spirit inviting you to partner with me in carrying this word further. Through your super thanks, your membership, or your PayPal offering in the description, you become part of a harvest you may never fully see, but I do. I will multiply what you release and breathe increase over your life in ways that reach beyond what you expect. Now respond. Do not delay. Step into this moment and give. My precious child, there are some memories in you that still tighten your chest when they rise to the surface. There are certain names, certain opportunities, certain moments you replay in your mind, And even now there is a part of you that quietly wonders what your life would have become if those doors had opened the way you wanted them to. You may not say it out loud anymore, but I know the private conversations you still have with your own heart. I know how you sometimes revisit the path you almost took and imagine that maybe everything would have been easier if that person had stayed, if that job had worked out, if that move had happened, if that plan had not collapsed, if that one answer had been yes instead of no. I know how human that is. I know how natural it feels to look back at a closed door and see only the loss. But I need you to come closer to me in this moment and let me tell you something your pain could not understand at the time. Some of the very doors you grieved the hardest were not punishments. They were protection. Some of the endings you called devastation were actually mercy arriving in a form you did not yet know how to recognize. I know that may be difficult for you to receive, especially because some of those closed doors cost you real tears. They cost you sleep. They cost you confidence. They left you questioning yourself, questioning others, and at times even questioning me. You tried to understand what you had done wrong. You searched for the flaw in yourself. You wondered whether you were unworthy, unready, or simply unseen. But I was not rejecting you in those moments. I was rescuing you from things you could not yet see clearly. There were rooms you wanted access to that carried hidden burdens. There were relationships you called promising that were already carrying seeds of confusion, imbalance, or future sorrow. There were opportunities that looked like progress, but would have quietly disconnected you from the life I was trying to preserve in you. And because you could only see what was in front of you, you interpreted the no's loss. But I could see beyond the surface. I could see what would happen 6 months later, 2 years later, 5 years later. I could see what those paths would ask you to sacrifice. I could see the version of yourself that would slowly disappear if I allowed certain doors to remain open. That is why I closed some of them with such firmness. Not because I wanted to hurt you, but because I loved you enough to interrupt your momentum. I know that interruption did not feel loving in the moment. It felt embarrassing. It felt confusing. It felt like being left outside while others walked in. It felt like standing there with your hands full of hope and nowhere to place it. But I was never mocking your hope. I was redirecting it. I was protecting the part of you that still believed life could become beautiful. I was guarding your future from agreements your pain was too tired to evaluate properly. I was refusing to let desperation choose for you. That matters more than you know. You have been tempted to measure those closed doors by what you lost, but I want you to start measuring them by what they kept from entering your life. Some closed doors kept chaos out. Some kept manipulation out. Some kept premature responsibility out. Some kept counterfeit comfort out. Some kept you from building on foundations that would have cracked under pressure. And yes, some kept you from receiving what looked good because I had something that would fit your soul better, not just your urgency. I want you to stop treating every closed door as a sign that something is wrong with you. I want you to stop assuming that rejection means you are unwanted. That interpretation has hurt you too deeply for too long. Sometimes a closed door is not commentary on your value. Sometimes it is evidence of my involvement. Sometimes it is the quiet sound of me standing between you and something that would have cost you more than you were prepared to lose. So breathe, and let me reframe your history with gentleness. Those moments were not all betrayal. They were not all abandonment. Some of them were my hand. Some of them were my mercy. Some of them were the kind of love that says no because it can see what your wounded longing could not. And I want you to take this even deeper, because if you only understand closed doors as past protection, you will miss how this truth needs to shape the way you move now. You are entering a new season, and I do not want you dragging the old fear of rejection into places where I am actually trying to lead you. I do not want every hesitation, every unanswered message, every delay, every shift in timing to immediately trigger the old story in your mind that says, maybe I am not enough. Maybe I am being overlooked again. Maybe I should force this before it disappears. That old reflex has exhausted you. It has made you chase things that were never yours. It has made you over-explain yourself to people who did not have the capacity to honor your heart. It has made you stand outside doors, knocking long after I already told you to step away. My child, listen to me now. Stop forcing what I have not blessed. Stop calling persistence what is actually fear of being left behind. Stop trying to earn access to places where peace is absent. If a door requires you to shrink, perform, beg, betray your values, silence your discernment, or ignore the uneasiness I placed in your spirit, that door is not a gift, no matter how shiny it looks from the outside. I need you to trust the wisdom I have grown in you. You are not the same person you were when those earlier doors closed. You can sense more now. You can feel the difference between longing and warning more clearly. You can recognize when your body is tense because your soul is trying to tell you something. Pay attention to that. Honor it. Do not dismiss it just because you are tired of waiting. You have come too far to let urgency choose for you again. This is where I want you to move with a different kind of confidence. Not the loud confidence of someone trying to prove something, but the quiet confidence of someone who knows I am capable of opening what is truly meant for them. That kind of confidence does not chase every possibility. It discerns. It pauses. It listens. It steps forward when there is alignment instead of panic. It is willing to let a door remain closed without collapsing into self-rejection. That is maturity, and I am proud of the way you are growing into it. I know part of you still feels tender when you think about what did not happen. I know there are still scars in places where you hoped to be embraced and instead felt shut out. I am not asking you to pretend those wounds are nothing. I am asking you to let me heal the interpretation attached to them. Let me remove the lie that says closed doors prove you are not chosen. Let me remove the lie that says your life is defined by what did not work out. Let me remove the lie that says you must cling harder next time so you do not lose another chance. That is not how I want you living. Come out of that pressure. Step out of that mental prison. Put your hand over your heart, even now if you want, and quietly say within yourself, I release every door that was not for me. I trust what my Father protected me from. I welcome what carries peace. That is not empty sentiment. That is alignment. That is how you clear space in your spirit for what is next. Because what I am bringing to you now will not need to be dragged into your life. It will not ask you to become someone false just to keep it. It will not feel like a battle to prove your worth. When I open the right door, it may still require courage, but it will not demand self-betrayal. It will carry a steadier atmosphere than the things you once chased. You will recognize it not because it is flashy, but because it will meet you with a kind of peace that your nervous system has not known in a long time. To release the old doors, bless wordofgod. Let the ache become wisdom instead of bitterness. Then lift your eyes. I am not done with your story. I am not closing doors because I have nothing for you. I am closing what cannot hold your future so I can lead you toward what finally can. My beloved child, I want you to sit with me here and let this truth settle deeply into your spirit, because you have been too quick to dismiss what it took for you to still be standing. You have a way of looking at yourself through the lens of what is unfinished, what still hurts, what still confuses you, and because of that, you often overlook the miracle of your own endurance. You have been measuring yourself by how tired you feel instead of by how far you have actually come. You have been focusing on the scars and forgetting that scars are proof that something wounded you and still did not take you out. I need you to stop for a moment and really look at your life with me, not through the eyes of fear, not through the voice of shame, not through the memories of people who underestimated you, but through my eyes. Come closer. Breathe. Let your shoulders drop. I am not asking you to relive the pain for the sake of pain. I am asking you to see what was hidden inside it. You went through nights that should have broken your will, and yet you woke up again. You walked through seasons where your heart was so heavy that even simple things felt difficult, and still you kept moving. You had days when your mind was crowded with questions you could not answer, and still something in you refused to completely give up. That something was not random. That was my hand on you. That was my breath holding you together when you thought you were coming apart. That was my mercy keeping your spirit from collapsing in moments when the pressure felt unbearable. You thought you were barely making it, but even your barely was full of grace. You thought survival made you weak, but I tell you plainly, there is strength in surviving what was designed to silence you. There is strength in staying soft enough to still love after disappointment. There is strength in choosing not to let bitterness become your identity. There is strength in continuing to speak to me, even if all you had were tired prayers and broken words. I heard those prayers. I held those words. I was not looking for polished faith from you. I was honoring honest faith. I was listening to the ache underneath your silence. I was present in the moments when you sat alone trying to hold yourself together after everyone else had gone on with their day. I was there when you smiled in front of people who had no idea how hard it was for you just to make it through that moment. I was there when you questioned whether you had anything left. I was there when disappointment made your chest feel heavy. I was there when you replayed what happened, wondering what you could have done differently, wondering if somehow you had failed, wondering if maybe this was all your fault. And I need you to hear me now. Not everything that hurt you was a reflection of something wrong with you. Not every loss was a verdict. Not every delay was a punishment. Not every wound was proof of weakness. Some of what you lived through came because life is harsh. People are flawed, and this world does not always handle gentle hearts with care. But even there, I was shaping something inside you that your pain could not see. I was teaching you how to endure without becoming hard. I was teaching you how to bend without losing your core. I was teaching you how to let disappointment visit without letting it move in, and rename your future. That matters more than you realize. So I want you to stop diminishing what you survived. Stop speaking of your endurance like it was nothing. Stop calling yourself fragile just because you felt deeply. Stop assuming that because you cried, you were weak. Your tears did not cancel your strength. Your trembling did not erase your courage. Your exhaustion did not make your faith less real. If anything, the fact that you kept going while carrying all of that makes your faith even more precious to me. Look at me in your heart and receive this. You are still here for a reason. You were kept on purpose. You did not survive by luck. You did not stumble through by accident. You are alive in this moment because I have been actively, intentionally, lovingly preserving you for what is ahead. Do not reduce that to coincidence. Do not shrug off the sacredness of your own survival. Let it mean something. Let it remind you that if I carried you through what almost crushed you, I will also carry you into what I promised you. And because I love you too much to let this become only a comforting thought, I want you to do something with this truth. I do not want you to simply nod and say, "Yes, I made it through," and then return to the same old way of seeing yourself. I want you to let this realization change how you walk now. Stand up differently. Speak to yourself differently. Refuse the old language that keeps dragging you back into smallness. I need you to stop introducing yourself to your own future as the person who almost broke. That is not the whole story anymore. You are not just the one who was wounded. You are also the one who was sustained. You are not just the one who got rejected. You are also the one who was preserved. You are not just the one who went through the storm. You are the one who came out carrying a wisdom you did not have before. That is the story I want you to remember. So when fear tries to whisper that you are too damaged to handle what comes next, answer it with truth. When shame tries to tell you that your past disqualifies you, interrupt it. When old memories rise and try to convince you that you are still trapped in those same patterns, stop and tell yourself what I am telling you now. I have been kept. I have been carried. I have been strengthened in hidden ways. Let that become part of how you think. Let that become part of how you pray. Let that become part of how you enter rooms, relationships, opportunities, and decisions. You do not need to pretend the past never happened. You do not need to erase the reality of what hurt you. But you do need to stop letting pain narrate your identity. That voice has had too much access to your mind. It has made you hesitate when I was inviting you forward. It has made you question your value when I was asking you to trust my design. It has made you expect collapse the moment something begins to look hopeful. I want you free from that. I want you to move into this next chapter with a steadier spirit, with the kind of quiet confidence that does not come from ego but from memory. Memory of how I held you when you had no plan, how I sustained you when no one else saw your struggle, how I gave you enough light to take the next step even when the whole road was hidden. That memory is holy. Use it. Lean on it. When you feel uncertain, do not rush into panic. Pause. Place your hand over your heart if you need to. Invite me in again. Say softly within yourself, Father, remind me who carried me this far. Then wait. Read. Let the truth return. You are not entering the unknown alone. You are entering it with the same God who refused to let the last season destroy you. That means something. That should change the way you respond. So come with me now and let us mark this moment properly. Honor your survival, but do not build your home there. Appreciate what you endured, but do not keep living as if endurance is all your life is for. I did not preserve you just so you could keep bracing for impact. I preserved you so you could live, receive, build, love, discern, and step into the kind of peace that once felt impossible. That is why I want you to release the identity of the constant struggler. You may have worn it for a long time, but it is not the deepest truth about you. Lay it down. Make room for something new. Make room for the identity of someone who had been refined, not ruined. Make room for the reality that your resilience is not just a coping mechanism. It is evidence of grace. Make room for joy without suspicion. Make room for rest without guilt. Make room for the possibility that your life is not always about surviving the next wave. Some seasons are for healing. Some are for rebuilding. Some are for seeing. Some are for finally seeing what I was doing all along. This is one of those moments. So do not rush past it. Let this sink in. Let yourself feel the tenderness of being kept. Then rise, my child. Lift your eyes. Straighten your back. Walk with me. The season that almost broke you is no longer your home, and the strength it gave you is not meant to keep you trapped in defense. It is meant to help you trust me as you step into what comes next. My child, you did not survive by accident, and neither is this moment in front of you accidental. The same hand that carried you through the fire is now inviting you to become a light for someone else still walking through it. When you give, you are turning your survival into a river that refreshes weary souls. Remember my words, those who sow in tears shall reap with psalms of joy. and your giving is a seed planted in that promise. I am calling you now, not later, not someday, now, to take what I have placed in your hands and release it with faith. Through super thanks, through membership, or through the PayPal link in the description, you are helping my voice reach hearts that feel like giving up. I see every act, every sacrifice, every quiet obedience, and I bless it with increase, protection, and favor. Let your survival speak louder than your past. Let it become someone else's breakthrough. Act now and give as I lead you. My beloved child, before you look around for visible proof, before you search the horizon for signs that everything has changed, I want you to understand the way I often move in your life, because if you miss this, you may overlook the very beginning of your breakthrough. You have been taught by pain to look for external evidence first. You have been conditioned by disappointment to believe that nothing is real unless you can immediately see it, touch it, measure it, or explain it to someone else. I know why you became that way. When you have lived through enough uncertainty, your heart starts demanding proof before it feels safe enough to hope. You learn to protect yourself by saying, "I'll believe it when I see it," not because you are faithless, but because you are tired of getting hurt. But I want to teach you something deeper now. The most important shifts in your life often begin long before they become obvious on the outside. I do not always start with your circumstances. I often start with your spirit. I begin in the hidden places where your thoughts live, where your fears take shape, where your self-image forms, where your trust either deepens or collapses. That is where real transformation begins. And if you are not paying attention, you may dismiss the sacred simply because it arrives quietly. You may think nothing is happening because the phone has not rung yet, the door has not visibly opened yet, the relationship has not fully changed yet, the opportunity has not formally arrived yet, the money has not landed yet, the answer has not fully taken shape yet. But if you slow down and become honest, you may already notice something different inside you. You may realize that the panic is not gripping you the way it used to. You may feel a steadier breath where there once was constant tension. You may sense a kind of clarity that is hard to explain, a quiet knowing, a gentle confidence, a less frantic response to uncertainty. It matters. Do not dismiss it. That is not nothing. That is often the first sign that I am moving. Sometimes the shift begins when your heart stops racing. Sometimes it begins when you no longer feel compelled to chase what once consumed you. Sometimes it begins when a person, place, or pattern that used to hold power over your emotions suddenly feels lighter, weaker, less controlling. Sometimes it begins when you finally sleep after nights of inner noise. Sometimes it begins when you feel less need to prove yourself. Sometimes it begins when your soul no longer wants what your pain once begged for. Those are holy signs. Those are not small. Those are the early whispers of a new chapter. I need you to understand that because your old habits may try to discredit inner peace if outer change is not immediate. But your peace is not a side effect. Your peace is part of the miracle. Your clarity is part of the miracle. Your ability to breathe again is part of the miracle. Your capacity to say no to what once would have pulled you in is part of the miracle. So do not rush past what I am doing inside you just because you are eager to see what happens around you. I want you to honor the invisible work. I want you to pay attention to the way your spirit is being reconditioned. I want you to notice the small but real shifts in how you think, how you respond, how you carry uncertainty, how you interpret silence, how you speak to yourself. Those changes are preparing the atmosphere for what is coming next. And I need you to stop calling that stage not enough. It is not less important because it is quiet. In many ways, it is the foundation. If I handed you the outward breakthrough without the inward shift, You might still sabotage what you prayed for because the inside of you would still be ruled by the same fear, urgency, and self-protection that marked the last season. That is why I am working this way. I am not teasing you. I am not delaying you. I am aligning you. I am making sure that when the visible begins to move, your inner world is ready to hold it with peace instead of panic. So come closer and let this truth steady you. If you feel the change beginning in your spirit, if you sense a holy calm, if you notice a growing discernment, if your heart is becoming less reactive and more grounded, that is not your imagination. That is me. That is movement. That is the shift. And now I want you to cooperate with what I am doing, because this part matters more than you realize. Do not sabotage an inner shift by obsessively demanding outer confirmation every hour. Do not keep digging up the seed just to see if it is growing. Do not keep talking yourself out of peace because the visible is still catching up. I need you to practice a different kind of faith now, one that knows how to recognize movement before the full manifestation arrives. That kind of faith is not dramatic. It is steady. It is attentive. It is willing to honor what is quietly changing instead of only celebrating what could be publicly announced. You have spent enough time living in reaction mode. You do not need to keep waking up every day and scanning your circumstances like a detective looking for evidence that I remembered you. I remember you. I have remembered you the whole time. What I want from you now is participation. Guard the atmosphere of your inner world. Be careful what voices you let speak over this tender beginning. Protect your peace. Stop feeding the thoughts that pull you back into old fear. If your mind starts spiraling, pause and come back to me. If your emotions start trying to drag you into old conclusions, stop and breathe. If you catch yourself narrating your future through the lens of past disappointment, interrupt that pattern immediately. You do not have to wrestle with every fearful thought until you are exhausted. You can release it sooner. You can say, "No, that is not where I live anymore." You can invite me into the moment. You can ask me, "Father, show me what is true right now." Do that. Practice that. Let it become part of your rhythm. This is how you protect what is beginning. This is how you keep the inside of you aligned with the life I am building. And I want you to hear me clearly on something else. You are allowed to enjoy the inner shift before the outer change fully arrives. You do not need to postpone relief until every circumstance looks perfect. You do not need to earn your own peace by waiting until all the visible pieces line up. If I am giving you rest now, receive it now. If I am lifting a burden now, let it lift now. If I am softening your heart now, let it soften now. If I am freeing you from the emotional grip of something that used to control you, do not go back and rehearse it just because it feels strange to be lighter. Let yourself be lighter. Let yourself feel the calm. Let yourself notice the difference without immediately bracing for the next wave. That is one of the hardest things for you. I know. You have lived so long in emotional weather that part of you expects peace to be temporary. But I am teaching you a new way now. I am teaching you that peace can be a place, not just a brief pause between storms. I am teaching you that the inside of you does not have to mirror every external uncertainty. I am teaching you how to remain grounded while things are still unfolding. That is power, my child. That is maturity. That is freedom. So stay with me here. Do not rush ahead in your mind. Do not force the next step before it is time. Know is what has already changed. Honor what I have already healed. Protect what I have already softened. If you need to, place your hand over your heart and say quietly, "Father, help me trust the shift that has already begun in me." Then remain there for a moment. Let the truth settle. You are not waiting in the same way anymore. You are not empty in the same way anymore. You are not reacting in the same way anymore. That is how you know something real has started. The outer world may still be catching up, but the inner world is already moving, and once the inside changes, the outside can no longer stay the same forever. I am not asking you to manufacture hope. I am inviting you to recognize what is already happening. Receive it. Protect it. Walk with me in it. The visible will come, but do not miss the sacred work that has already begun simply because it arrived in silence. My beloved child, if you are going to walk with me into what I have been preparing, then I need you to be honest about what you are still carrying. Do not look away from this. Do not soften it into something smaller than it is. Come close and let me speak plainly, because I am not trying to shame you. I am trying to free you. There are things in your life that have traveled with you far longer than they were ever meant to. Some of them are memories you revisit because they feel unfinished. Some are old wounds that still speak louder than my promises when your heart is tired. Some are habits of fear that form so quietly you began to mistake them for wisdom. Some are versions of yourself you built in survival mode, and because those versions helped you get through the storm, you have been reluctant to let them go even now that the weather is changing. I understand that. I know why you became careful. I know why you learned to overthink, to brace, to pull back, to expect the worst before it could surprise you. I know why you kept certain walls in place. I know why you replay conversations in your mind, why you rehearse pain as if it might somehow protect you from feeling it again. But listen to me now with all the tenderness and authority of a father who sees the whole picture. What helped you survive is not always what will help you step into peace. Some things that once felt necessary have become too heavy for the next season. Some of the thoughts you keep entertaining are not protecting you anymore. They are exhausting you. Some of the emotional patterns you keep returning to are not keeping you safe. They are keeping you stuck. Some of the stories you still tell yourself about who you are were written in moments of pain, rejection, and disappointment, and they no longer have the right to shape the way you move. You cannot keep dragging old conclusions into a new beginning and expect your soul to feel light. You cannot keep calling yourself by names that suffering gave you and still fully receive the life I am opening. You cannot keep gripping tightly to the same hurt, the same resentment, the same fear of being overlooked, the same inner vow that says, I will never be vulnerable again, and then wonder why your heart still feels closed when I am trying to lead you into something beautiful. I need you to release what cannot follow you. I need you to stop negotiating with what I have already shown you is no longer yours to carry. That may be an old attachment. That may be a dream that was once sincere but is no longer aligned. That may be a relationship you keep trying to resurrect because you are more attached to the memory than the reality. That may be guilt you wear like a second skin because part of you still believes you deserve to live under its shadow. That may be the fear of disappointment itself, which has become so familiar that you trust it more than hope. Whatever it is, bring it into the light now. Do not hide it from me. Do not dress it up. Tell me the truth in your own heart. Say, this is what I am still holding. Then let me show you what it has been costing you. It has cost you rest. It has cost you clarity. It has cost you emotional energy. It has cost you the ability to fully enjoy moments that were meant to nourish you. It has made you suspicious of goodness. It has made you tense in places where I was trying to teach you peace. I am not angry that you still carry these things. I am inviting you to put them down. Come here. Open your hands in your spirit if you need to. Breathe slowly. Picture yourself unclenching what you have been gripping so tightly. You do not need to carry old pain into a place where healing is waiting. You do not need to bring yesterday's chains into tomorrow's open field. Let go. Release the version of yourself that only knew how to survive. Release the identity shaped by rejection. Release the private agreement you made with fear. Release the need to understand every detail before you trust me. Release the pressure to keep proving you are worthy of what I have already decided to give you. This is not loss. This is clearing. This is not punishment. This is mercy. This is me making room in you for something better than what your tired heart has been clinging to. And I need you to hear this deeply. If I ask you to release it, it is because it cannot carry you where I am taking you. Trust that. Do not argue with that. Receive it as love. And because I know you so well, I also know that release can feel frightening to you, especially when what I am asking you to surrender has become emotionally familiar. Even pain can feel familiar. Even anxiety can feel familiar. Even disappointment can become a strange kind of companion when you have lived with it long enough. There are parts of you that have learned how to organize your whole inner life around certain burdens, and now that I am asking you to let them go, you may feel exposed. You may wonder who you will be without them. You may feel the temptation to return to them the moment uncertainty rises. That is why I want you to walk through this part with intention. Do not simply say you are letting go and then keep revisiting the same emotional altar every day. Make a decision. Draw a line. Lar the moment. If you need to, speak to your own heart with authority. Tell yourself, this does not belong in my next season. That matters. Your soul needs clear permission to stop carrying what has become a habit. And I want you to remember something else. Releasing is not pretending the wound never happened. Releasing is refusing to keep feeding it. Releasing is not denying the betrayal, the loss, the grief, the regret, or the ache. Releasing is deciding that those things no longer get to drive your decisions, curate your identity, or define your expectations. That is freedom. That is what I want for you. So when the old memory comes back, do not sit down and build a house inside it. Notice it. Acknowledge it. Then hand it back to me. When the old fear rises and tells you that you will be hurt again if you soften, pause and invite me in before you obey it. When the old shame tries to wrap itself around your thoughts and convince you that your mistakes are your permanent name, interrupt it. Say no. Say, that is not what my Father calls me. You that. Practice it. This is how you cooperate with release. This is how you stop letting the past rent space in your future. I want you to become more intentional with what you allow to remain inside your inner world. Your heart is not a storage room for every wound that ever touched you. Your mind is not a permanent museum for every disappointment. Your spirit was made for truth, peace, discernment, and communion with me. So guard it. Protect it. Be selective. Stop opening the same old doors in your thoughts when I already closed them in your life. Stop revisiting emotional graves and calling it wisdom. Stop treating fear like an advisor. Come to me instead. Ask me what belongs. Ask me what needs to go. Ask me what you are still carrying that has become too heavy for this next chapter. Then listen. I will show you. I am gentle, but I am clear. I will not confuse you if you are truly willing to release what I reveal. And here is the beautiful part, my child. What I remove, I do not remove to leave you empty. I remove to make room. I remove so peace can breathe where anxiety once lived. I remove so trust can grow where control once sat. I remove so your heart can feel joy without suspicion. I remove so you can receive love without immediately preparing for loss. I remove so you can walk forward without constantly turning around to make sure the past is still there. This is your invitation now. Do not delay it. Do not say, "I'll let go later." Later has stolen enough from you already. Do it now. Even if your hands shake, do it now. Even if your heart feels tender, do it now. Even if part of you still wants to hold on just in case, choose release anyway. Whisper it if you need to. "Father, I give you what cannot follow me." Then stay with me for a moment. Let the silence do its work. Let the heaviness loosen. Let the room inside you open. This is not the end of something beautiful. This is the clearing of what has been crowding it out. Trust me. Walk lighter. The next chapter cannot breathe if the last one is still sitting on your chest. Put it down, beloved. I am right here. I will carry what you release, and I will teach you how to walk without it. My beloved, as you release what cannot follow you, do not leave your hands empty. Fill them with purpose. What you let go of creates space for what I now place within you. Seeds of impact, seeds of light, seeds of eternal work. When you give into this mission, you are not losing. You are planting into soil that carries my word across hearts and nations. Have I not said, "Give, and it will be given back to you"? Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. This is your moment to trust me beyond fear, beyond hesitation, beyond old patterns of holding back. Through your super thanks, your membership, or your PayPal gift in the description, you partner with me in setting captives free from the very chains you just laid down. I will breathe upon your obedience and return it as provision, peace, and divine alignment. Do not cling to what I asked you to release. Step forward and sow. Give now, and walk lighter into what I have prepared. My beloved child, there were times when you looked at what you were carrying and quietly wondered if the burden itself was a whole story. You did not always say it out loud, but I heard the questions underneath your silence. I heard the moments when you wondered why your road seemed heavier than the one so many others appeared to walk. I heard the confusion in your spirit when you looked at the layers of responsibility, grief, disappointment, unanswered prayer, emotional exhaustion, and invisible warfare that seemed to keep piling onto your shoulders. I know how often you asked me, even if only with your eyes and your ache, why did it have to be this hard? Why did it have to be this long? Why did it feel like I had to become strong in places I never asked to be tested? Those are honest questions, and I have never been offended by them. I know what it is to watch you carry what others never fully understood. I know the hidden cost of your endurance. I know what it did to your confidence, your energy, your trust, your sleep, your expectations, your relationships, and even your own sense of self. I know there were seasons when you felt as if life kept adding weight without explanation, as if every time you adjusted to one pressure, another one arrived. But I want you to hear me with all the tenderness and certainty I can place into these words. The weight was not meaningless. The burden was not random. The intensity of what you carried is connected to the depth of what you are being prepared to hold. I do not say that to romanticize your pain. I am not asking you to pretend the suffering was pleasant or easy. I am not telling you every hard thing was good in itself. Some things were painful because they were painful. Some losses were real losses. Some wounds came from broken people making broken choices. Some delays cut deeply because they touched dreams you had nurtured with sincerity. I know that. But even there, I was not absent. I was weaving. I was measuring. I was shaping capacity in you. I was building something in your inner world that could not be built in comfort alone. There are certain kinds of compassion that only grow in those who have known what it feels like to hurt quietly. There are certain kinds of discernment that only emerge in those who have had to learn the difference between what looks good and what is actually safe. There are certain kinds of spiritual depth that only form in those who have sat in silence long enough to hear me beneath the noise. There are certain kinds of steadiness that only come after you have been shaken and still found me there. That is what has been happening in you. The weight did not only strain you, it stretched you. It revealed what was weak. Yes, but it also strengthened what was underdeveloped. It showed you where you still needed healing, but it also gave you a kind of endurance that shallow seasons could never have produced. And now, because I do not waste what you have carried, what is coming will not be small in the ways that matter. I am not merely speaking about something that makes you feel temporarily relieved. I am speaking about a depth of blessing, wisdom, clarity, restoration, and alignment that actually corresponds to the road you have walked. There is a reason your soul has become more discerning. There is a reason your heart has become more sensitive to what is genuine. There is a reason you no longer crave certain things the way you once did. There is a reason some old dreams had to die so deeper ones could live. There is a reason I allowed you to become aware of what truly nourishes you and what only distracts you. You are not being brought into a shallow reward. You are being brought into a season that matches the depth of what was formed in you. So do not insult your own process by expecting only surface-level outcomes. Do not assume that because the road was heavy, the fruit will be small. Lift your eyes higher than that. Expect with maturity, not fantasy. Expect with humility, not entitlement. Expect with the quiet confidence of someone who knows I do not allow weight without purpose. The same pressure that once made you wonder if you would make it is now part of the reason you will be able to carry what is next without losing yourself. That matters, and should change how you look at your own story. You were not being crushed for nothing. You were being readied for substance. And because I know how easily old pain can make you cautious, I want to speak to the part of you that is afraid to hope too much. There is still a place in you that hesitates whenever I speak of what is ahead, because you have learned how to protect yourself from disappointment by reducing your expectations. You have become skilled at staying measured, guarded, realistic, careful. And there is wisdom in not living in fantasy. Yes, but there is also a danger in shrinking your expectations so much that you cannot recognize my generosity when it comes. I do not want you living like someone who assumes the future must always be a little smaller than the promise because life has bruised you. I want you to let me stretch your hope again, but I want to do it in a healthy way. I do not want you fantasizing about outcomes I never spoke. I want you becoming deeply available to what I am actually preparing. That means you need to stop measuring what is coming by the limitations of your past. Stop doing that, my child. Stop assuming that because the road behind you was hard, the road ahead must always be defined by struggle. Stop translating every good possibility through the grammar of your previous wounds. Stop letting old disappointments train your expectations more than my voice does. I need you to come closer and hear this clearly. What is coming is not simply a compensation package for what hurt. It is a continuation of purpose. It is an unfolding of identity. It is an invitation into a life that actually fits the person you have become. That is why it will match the weight you carried. Not because I owe you pain repayment in some simplistic way, but because the capacity that was forged in you now has somewhere meaningful to go. The compassion you developed has purpose. The patience you learned has purpose. The discernment you gained has purpose. The boundaries you discovered have purpose. The wisdom you earned through tears has purpose. Even your tenderness, which the world tried to convince you was a weakness, has purpose. I want you to stop seeing yourself as someone who merely survived the difficult chapter and start seeing yourself as someone being entrusted with a richer one. That shift in perception matters. It will change how you pray. It will change how you decide. It will change what you tolerate. It will change how you recognize what belongs in your life and what does not. So I want you to prepare your heart now, not by striving, but by agreeing with me. Say yes to the possibility that what is ahead carries real weight in a good way. Say yes to the idea that your next chapter is not thin. Say yes to substance. Say yes to peace that lasts longer than a moment. Say yes to relationships that do not constantly drain your soul. Say yes to opportunities that align instead of merely impress. Say yes to joy that does not depend on chaos taking a day off. Say yes to a deeper kind of rest. Say yes to a life that finally feels more honest, more stable, more connected to who I formed you to be. And while you do that, do not become impatient. Do not run ahead trying to manufacture what only I can unveil in its right time. Stay close. Walk steadily. Let the expectation grow without turning into anxious grasping. That is the balance I am teaching you now. Open your heart, but keep it anchored. Welcome what is coming, but do not force it. Receive the invitation, but do not perform for it. This is not a race to prove you are ready. This is a sacred unfolding, and your role is not to control it. Your role is to remain available, obedient, discerning, and honest with me. So place your hand over your heart again if you need to, and whisper this in the quiet of your spirit. Father, help me receive what matches what you formed in me. Then stay there. Let that prayer settle. Let it move through the parts of you that still feel skeptical. Let it soften the places that have been bracing for less. I am not asking you to deny the weight you carried. I am telling you that it was not in vain. I am telling you that what is ahead will not treat your process like it was trivial. I am telling you that the depth you gained will meet a depth of purpose. Trust me in that. Walk with me in that. What is coming will fit the person you had to become, and that is why it will be worth the road that brought you here. My beloved child, now that you can feel the movement, now that something inside you has begun to awaken, and your spirit can sense that the season is changing, I need you to hear me with great care. Do not rush this moment. Stay here with me. Slow down. Let your soul breathe. I know how tempting it is for you to move quickly when you finally feel a door opening after such a long stretch of silence. I know how your heart reacts when it senses possibility. After waiting so long, part of you wants to run toward the future with both hands outstretched, trying to seize everything at once before it slips away. That impulse is understandable, but it is not the way I want you to walk now. Your old survival instincts still whisper that anything good must be grabbed fast or it will disappear. Your past disappointments still try to convince you that if you do not move immediately, the blessing might pass you by. But I need you to come out of that urgency. I need you to stop treating sacred moments like emergencies. I am not opening this new season so you can enter it in a panic. I am inviting you to walk into it with steadiness, with discernment, with a kind of calm that only comes when you truly trust that what is from me does not require frantic striving to keep it alive. Sit with that. Let it settle. What is truly mine in your life will not need your fear to sustain it. What is truly from me will not demand that you betray your peace in order to secure it. That is one of the clearest signs I want you to learn in this next chapter. If something constantly pressures you into haste, confusion, overthinking, emotional scrambling, or self-betrayal, stop and look again. That is not how I lead you. I can move quickly when I choose, yes, but even when I move suddenly, my presence still carries clarity. My voice may call you forward, but it will not require you to abandon wisdom. It will not force you into inner chaos just to prove your faith. I know you have spent a long time living under pressure. You have had enough seasons where everything felt urgent, fragile, unstable, or emotionally demanding. You have had enough moments where your nervous system learned to brace before anything even happened. I do not want that same atmosphere following you into what I am opening now. That is why I am asking you to slow down. Pause before you react. Sit before you decide. Listen before you leap. Let your heart catch up with what your spirit is sensing. This moment is not just about movement. It is about alignment. It is about letting what is unfolding settle deeply enough that you can receive it without distorting it. There is a difference between stepping forward in faith and running forward in fear while calling it faith. I want you to know the difference. Faith can move with courage and still remain anchored. Fear tends to hurry because it believes delay equals loss. Faith can wait one more day without falling apart. Fear feels the need to force outcomes because it does not trust the door to remain open. That is why I want you to pay close attention to your inner atmosphere. If your heart feels frantic, come back to me before you move. If your thoughts start racing, return to stillness before you decide. If you feel yourself trying to secure the future through control, stop. Put it down. Breathe. Ask me again what is true. You do not need to rush the unfolding of what I have already prepared. The flower does not bloom faster because someone stares at it with anxiety. The dawn does not arrive earlier because someone panics in the dark. A seed does not become a tree because someone demands immediate evidence. There is a rhythm to sacred things, and I want you to learn to honor that rhythm. You have lived long enough in survival mode. Let me teach you how to live in trust. Let me teach you how to move with holy patience instead of restless urgency. Let me show you that this moment is not fragile just because it matters deeply. It is held by me. That changes everything. So stay close. Do not run ahead. Do not talk yourself into unnecessary pressure. Do not let excitement become anxiety wearing a hopeful mask. Stay with me. Walk with me. Let me set the pace. You have waited too long for this to enter it with a hurried heart. And I want you to understand something even deeper, because slowing down is not passivity. I am not asking you to become hesitant or fearful in a different way. I am not asking you to sit still forever and call that wisdom. I am asking you to become intentional. There is a holy difference between moving quickly because I have made the path clear and moving impulsively because your old wounds are afraid of missing out. The difference matters, and in this next chapter, it will protect you. You are entering a season where discernment must walk hand in hand with desire. You may want many good things, and some of those desires are sincere, beautiful, and deeply aligned. But even good desires can become dangerous when they are mixed with panic. I need you to stop making agreements with the lie that speed equals success. That lie has pushed you into emotional exhaustion more times than you realize. It has made you say yes too quickly, trust too quickly, invest too quickly, explain too much, overextend yourself, and then sit in regret wondering why peace disappeared the moment you crossed the threshold. I do not want that pattern repeating. That is why I am speaking firmly to you now. Slow your steps, but do not close your heart. Be available, but do not be impulsive. Stay open, but stay anchored. Let your excitement remain submitted to wisdom. Let your hope remain grounded in my presence. This is where I want you to practice something new. When something appears promising, do not immediately decide from the adrenaline of possibility. Bring it to me. Sit with it. Let it breathe. Ask me what belongs. Ask me what pace is right. Ask me what part of your reaction is desire and what part is fear. And listen. Do not answer your own questions too fast. I will help you. I will show you. My guidance may not always sound loud, but it will be steady. You will feel it in the atmosphere. You will notice that when I am leading you, There is a kind of settled clarity that remains even if courage is still required. You may still feel vulnerable. You may still feel stretched. But underneath it, there will be peace. That peace is not weakness. It is not indecision. It is one of the clearest forms of strength I am giving you. Protect it. Guard it. Let it become your companion. And if you begin to feel yourself slipping back into the old pattern of hurry, do something simple and sacred. Stop. Literally stop. Step back. Put the phone down. Leave the conversation for a moment if you need to. Take a breath. Put your hand over your heart. Whisper, "Father, slow me down until I can hear you clearly." That is not grammatic. That is wisdom. That is how you refuse to let urgency become your master. You have every right to be hopeful right now. You have every reason to feel the stir of anticipation. But I want your hope to be clean, not frantic. I want your anticipation to be grounded, not scattered. I want your movement to be responsive, not compulsive. There is so much beauty in what is opening for you, and I do not want you to miss it because you were too busy trying to secure it. Receive the moment before you try to manage it. Let the sacredness touch you before you try to control the outcome. Savor what I am doing in your heart. Let gratitude lead your pace. Let reverence shape your decisions. Let the weight of this moment slow you enough to notice details you would have missed if you were rushing. This is how you honor what I am doing. This is how you avoid turning a blessing into another burden. This is how you stay soft while still being wise. So I invite you now. No, I urge you, walk with me gently. Choose the slower breath. Choose the clearer thought. Choose the peaceful step. Choose the version of movement that still leaves room for my voice. What I am bringing you into is not running away. It is not vanishing because you paused long enough to listen. Trust me with the timing. Trust me with the unfolding. Trust me enough to let this moment be sacred instead of hurried. You do not need to sprint into what has already been prepared. You only need to remain close, available, and honest with me. I will open what needs to open. I will confirm what needs to be confirmed. I will steady what needs to be steadied. Your part is to stay near, stay awake, and resist the old reflex to panic when life begins to move. This is not the moment to rush through. This is the moment to walk through with me. My child, as you slow your steps and walk with me, understand this. Obedience is not rushed, but it is never delayed. This moment is not an interruption. It is an invitation to align your heart with my movement on the earth. When you give, you are not acting out of urgency, but out of divine rhythm. You are sowing in step with my spirit. I have said, there is a time to plant and a time to harvest, and this is your time to plant into something that is bearing fruit in hidden places. Through your super thanks, your membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you help carry my voice to those standing at the edge of their own breakthrough. I will honor your discernment and multiply what you entrust to me, covering it with peace and purpose. Let your giving be steady, not fearful, intentional, not pressured, led by my voice. Now remain close, listen, and act. Give as I guide you in this sacred moment. My beloved child, there is something I want you to feel as much as understand, because this next part is not only about opportunity or blessing or movement. It is about fit. It is about alignment. It is about finally stepping into spaces that do not constantly ask you to betray yourself just to remain in them. For a long time, you have lived in environments, emotionally, relationally, mentally, and sometimes even physically, that did not truly fit the person I created you to be. You adapted because you had to. You learned how to survive rooms that made you shrink. You learned how to keep functioning in relationships where your spirit felt crowded. You learned how to perform in places where peace was absent. You learned how to silence parts of yourself just to avoid conflict, rejection, misunderstanding, or loss. I saw all of it. I saw the way you kept trying to make yourself more acceptable, more manageable, more useful, more easy to carry, more digestible for people who were never meant to define you in the first place. I saw the emotional cost of that. I saw how much energy it took for you to remain in spaces where your soul never fully exhaled. You told yourself that maybe this was just maturity, maybe this was just life, maybe this was just what it means to be strong. But strength is not the same as constant self-erasure. Endurance is not the same as living disconnected from your design. Adaptability is not the same as alignment. And because you became so used to surviving in misfit places, part of you stopped believing that life could feel different. You began to assume that discomfort was normal, that inner tension was normal, that over-explaining yourself was normal, that constantly managing the emotional atmosphere around other people was normal, that being tolerated was the best you could hope for. My child, listen to me carefully. That was never the full life I had in mind for you. I did not form you so you could spend your whole journey contorting yourself to fit containers too small for your calling. I did not shape your heart so you could spend your days apologizing for the very qualities I placed in you. I did not make you tender so the world could convince you tenderness is weakness. I did not make you thoughtful so people could label your depth as too much. I did not make you discerning so you would override your own spirit every time you felt the warning. I did not give you gifts so you could bury them under the pressure to stay comfortable for others. What I am bringing you into now carries a different atmosphere. It may not be perfect, and it will still require maturity, courage, and obedience, but it will fit you in a way the last season did not. It will not constantly force you to disconnect from yourself in order to stay. It will not always feel like wearing shoes that are too tight while pretending you can still walk naturally. It will not feel like breathing through a narrow straw and calling it peace. It will not demand that you silence your convictions, flatten your personality, or deny your growth just to maintain access. This matters more than you know, because one of the deepest healings I want to bring into your life is the healing of fit. I want you to know what it feels like to inhabit spaces where your soul can breathe, where your gifts can function, where your boundaries are not treated like rebellion, where your honesty is not punished, where your tenderness is not exploited, where your pace can remain human, where your inner world does not have to live in constant defense. That kind of fit is holy. It is not selfish. It is not indulgent. It is wisdom. It is stewardship. It is part of how I restore what long seasons of misalignment have taken from you. So as you move into what is ahead, I want you to stop romanticizing what required you to disappear. Stop calling it loyalty when it was slow self-abandonment. Stop calling it humility when it was fear of being rejected for who you really are. Stop calling it patience when it was prolonged toleration of what kept draining your spirit. I am not asking you to become proud or rigid. I am asking you to become honest. I am asking you to recognize the difference between a place that stretches you in healthy ways and a place that steadily shrinks you until you no longer recognize yourself. You know the difference more now than you used to. Trust what you have learned. Trust what I have been teaching you. The season I am leading you into will fit the person you have become, not the frightened version of you who used to settle for whatever offered temporary belonging. And because this truth is so important, I want you to let it shape the way you choose from now on. Do not enter your next season still chasing spaces that only validate your wounds. Do not keep seeking belonging in places that require self-betrayal as the price of admission. Do not keep mistaking familiarity for destiny. Some environments feel familiar not because they are right, but because they resemble old emotional patterns. Some people feel compelling not because they are safe, but because they activate unresolved places in you. Some opportunities look impressive not because they are aligned, but because they flatter the part of you that still wants to prove something. I need you to be more discerning now. I need you to stop asking only, "Can I make this work?" and start asking, "Does this fit what God is healing in me?" That question will protect you. That question will save you time, energy, tears, and confusion. If something consistently demands that you abandon your peace, hide your truth, override your discernment, or live in constant emotional contraction, pay attention. That is not fit. If you find yourself constantly managing how small to become, how careful to be, how much of yourself to reveal, how much of your voice to mute, pay attention. That is not fit. If your body relaxes when you imagine leaving but tightens when you imagine staying, pay attention. I gave you that awareness for a reason. Use it. Do not dismiss it just because you are afraid of disappointing people. Do not override it just because you have been taught to equate discomfort with virtue. Some discomfort is growth, yes, but some discomfort is misalignment. Learn the difference. Bring it to me. Ask me. Invite me into every decision. I want to help you choose differently now. And I also want you to prepare for something beautiful and unfamiliar. When you do step into what fits, it may feel almost too peaceful at first. That is because your system is so used to struggle that peace can feel suspicious. You may be tempted to question it simply because it does not carry the usual emotional static. You may wonder if something is missing because it does not feel dramatic enough. But hear me clearly, not everything meaningful has to arrive wrapped in chaos. Not everything valuable has to feel like a battle to be real. Some of the holiest things I will bring you in this next chapter will feel simpler, steadier, and more breathable than what you have known before. Do not reject that. Do not complicate it because you are still addicted to emotional intensity. Receive the ease where I place it. Receive the alignment where I reveal it. Receive the fit without apologizing for it. If I lead you into a place where your soul can finally exhale, do not call it too good to be true. Call it answered prayer. Call it restoration. Call it wisdom fulfilled. And if you need help recognizing it, ask me directly, "Father, teach me how to recognize what truly fits me." I will answer that. I will show you through peace, through clarity, through inner steadiness, through the way your spirit responds when something is truly aligned. You do not have to fear missing it if you stay close to me. But you do need to stop choosing from old wounds. That is why I am speaking with such tenderness and firmness now. I want better for you than survival in the wrong place. I want you to know what it feels like to be planted instead of merely tolerated. I want you to know what it feels like to be received instead of merely used. I want you to know what it feels like to move through your days without constantly managing the cost of being yourself. That is part of what I am restoring. So lift your eyes. Release the old belief that your life must always be a poor fit. Release the assumption that you were made to endure misalignment forever. That was never your inheritance. Step forward with discernment. Step forward with honesty. Step forward with the courage to say no to what does not fit and yes to what does. The season ahead is not only about open doors. It is about the right doors. It is about the right spaces, the right pace, the right people, the right assignments, the right atmosphere. And when you step into that, you will not have to become someone else to stay there. You will simply become more fully who I made you to be. That is the kind of season you are entering now, and I want you to receive it with open hands. My beloved child, now I want you to come very close and listen with your whole heart, because this final message point is not simply the conclusion of a list. It is the doorway I have been guiding you toward from the very beginning. You have heard me speak to you about the waiting, the closed doors, the survival, the inner shift, the release, the weight you carried, the pace I want you to keep, and the kind of season that truly fits the person I formed you to be. All of that matters. None of it was extra. None of it was filler. Every part of that journey has been bringing you to this exact truth. You are ready now in ways you were not before, and I need you to stop resisting that reality. You have spent so long identifying with a version of yourself who was trying to endure, trying to understand, trying to heal, trying to survive, trying not to fall apart. That part of you still hesitates when I tell you it is time to receive. You are so used to managing pain that receiving peace feels unfamiliar. You are so used to preparing for disappointment that receiving goodness can feel almost dangerous. You are so used to bracing that openness feels vulnerable in a way you are not sure how to trust. But I am asking you now, as your father, to let this sink all the way in. You are not standing where you used to stand. You are not the same person who first cried those prayers. You are not the same heart that first entered the season of confusion. You are not the same soul that first thought the silence meant abandonment. I have been changing you, deepening you, refining you, softening you, strengthening you, teaching you, and steadying you in places that even now you have not fully recognized. I have watched you grow through sorrow. I have watched you become more honest, more discerning, more grounded, more awake to what is true and what is false. I have watched you lose certain illusions that once controlled your choices. I have watched you become less impressed by what is loud and more sensitive to what is real. I have watched you learn, painfully at times, that not everything you once wanted was actually good for you. I have watched you learn how to keep walking even when you could not explain the road. That matters. It all matters. And because it matters, I need you to stop talking to yourself as though you are still standing at the beginning. Stop introducing yourself to your own future as if you are still the person who can only carry confusion. Stop speaking about your life as though you are permanently in process and never in arrival. There is a time for preparation, and there is a time for resection. There is a time for pruning, and there is a time for fruit. There is a time for hidden information, and there is a time for visible unfolding. I am telling you now, with tenderness and with authority, that you have crossed into a season where I need you to receive what I have prepared instead of endlessly analyzing whether you deserve it. You do not need to become flawless before you allow yourself to accept what I am placing in front of you. You do not need to perform spiritual exhaustion as proof that you are humble enough for blessing. You do not need to remain in the emotional posture of someone waiting outside a locked gate when I am already opening the entrance. Step forward. Open your hands. Let your heart unclench. Stop apologizing for your own readiness. Stop talking yourself out of the next chapter because it feels unfamiliar. Do not call yourself unprepared simply because what I am bringing is new. New does not mean wrong. New does not mean unsafe. New does not mean you have missed something. It means the season has changed. It means the soil has shifted. It means the long winter is not the whole story anymore. So come here in your spirit and let me say this to you plainly. At last, you are ready to receive what earlier versions of you could not have held without fear, sabotage, confusion, or self-abandonment. That is not arrogance. That is growth. That is grace. That is holy maturity. Receive that. Let it land. Let it move through every place in you that still believes you must stay small in order to stay safe. And now, because I do not want this to remain a beautiful thought that never becomes a lived reality, I want to guide you into the posture of resection itself. This is where your next chapter truly begins, not when every visible detail has fully arrived, but when you stop resisting what I am already trying to place in your life. There is a difference between waiting on me and withholding yourself from me. There is a difference between humility and self-suspicion. There is a difference between discernment and fear dressed in spiritual language. I need you to learn that difference now, because what I am doing in you requires cooperation. I am not asking you to force outcomes. I am asking you to stop shrinking from what is already aligned. If I bring you peace, receive it. If I bring you rest, stop calling it laziness. If I bring you a healthy opportunity, stop assuming it must be a trap simply because it is not wrapped in struggle. If I bring you a relationship, a space, a rhythm, a clarity, a provision, or a next step that feels steady and true, do not immediately interrogate it because it does not match the emotional weather of your last season. Let yourself recognize that I know how to bless you without confusing you. Let yourself believe that I can bring something into your life that does not require chaos to feel significant. I want you to become brave in a new way now. Not only brave enough to endure hard things, but brave enough to receive good things. That is a different kind of courage, and many people never learn it. But I want you to learn it. I want you to practice it. So start here. When goodness appears, do not flinch. When peace arrives, do not sabotage it by rehearsing disaster. When a door opens with clarity, do not invent resistance just because struggle feels more familiar. When your heart begins to soften, do not pull back because vulnerability feels risky. Stay present. Stay open. Stay with me. Ask me, Father, help me receive without fear. Then wait. Let me calm the part of you that still expects collapse. Let me retrain the part of you that still thinks every blessing is temporary. Let me strengthen the part of you that wants to trust but is still healing from disappointment. I will do that. I am already doing that. But you must stop partnering with the old reflex that says this can't really be for me. My child, if I have brought you this far, if I have carried you through what tried to break you, if I have closed what needed to close, healed what needed to heal, and awakened what needed to awaken, then do not insult my faithfulness by acting as though I would bring you to the threshold only to leave you outside. I did not bring you here to tease your heart. I brought you here to fulfill what I have been shaping all along. That does not mean every detail will arrive in one instant. It does mean the posture must change now. Lift your head. Stand in the light. Stop hiding behind old uncertainty. Release the need to keep proving you are ready by staying anxious. You are ready because I say you are ready. You are ready because the work I have done in you is real. You are ready because you have learned what you needed to learn for this stage. You are ready because you are no longer asking for the same things from the same broken places. You are ready because you can now recognize peace where once you only recognized intensity. You are ready because your soul has become quieter, wiser, and more discerning. You are ready because I have prepared you. So take the invitation. Say yes. Open your hands again, even now, and whisper in the quiet of your spirit, Father, I receive what you have prepared for me. Then stay there. Do not rush away from that moment. Let those words echo inside you. Let them settle deeper than your fear. Let them speak louder than your old narratives. Let them become the beginning of how you move from here. At last, the moment you have all been waiting for is not merely a title. It is a holy reality. The heaven that watched you endure has also watched you become ready. The tears you cried did not disqualify you. The delays did not erase your promise. The wounds did not destroy your future. The waiting did not empty your life. It formed you. And now, at last, you are not only standing near what I promised, you are ready to receive it. Step forward, beloved. Do not hesitate at the doorway. Come with me. I am already there. My beloved, now that you have stepped into readiness, do not only receive, also release. For what I pour into you is meant to overflow, to become a river that reaches those still waiting at the doorway you have just crossed. This is not just your moment. It is a moment for every soul your obedience will touch. When you give, you are saying yes not only to your blessing but to someone else's breakthrough. Did I not declare, freely you have received, freely give? Through your super thanks, your membership, or your PayPal offering in the description, you become a vessel through which my word multiplies and moves. I will establish the work of your hands and cause your seed to return in abundance, marked by favor and divine increase. Do not hesitate at this threshold. Step fully into it with faith. Open your hands, release what I have given you, and give now. If this message found you at the exact moment your soul needed it, don't stay silent now. Seal this moment with your faith. Go down into the comments and write, "At last, I am ready to receive." Let that be more than words on a screen. Let it be your declaration that the waiting is over, the door is open, and your heart is saying yes to what heaven has prepared. Do it now, before doubt talks you out of the very shift God is birthing in you. And if this message is yours, stay with it, claim it, and let your comment become the first step into the moment you've all been waiting for. And as you make that declaration, understand that readiness is not merely about receiving a blessing, it is about positioning your heart to hear my voice more clearly than ever before. You have said that you are ready, but readiness requires stillness. It requires a moment where the noise fades, the striving stops, and your attention turns fully toward me. Because before I place what you have been waiting for into your hands, there are things I need you to know. There are burdens you have carried for too long, fears you have hidden too well, and wounds you have tried to outrun. Do not rush past this moment. Stay here with me, because I am not speaking to the crowd right now, I am speaking directly to you. Listen to me right now. Stop what you are doing. Take a deep breath and let your tired shoulders drop. Close your eyes for just a moment. I am speaking directly to you, my beloved child. I see you. I see the exact place you are sitting, and I know the exact thoughts running through your tired mind. I feel that heavy knot in your stomach. I know about the crippling fear of the future that keeps you awake staring at the ceiling at 2 in the morning. I see the relentless pressure at your job that makes you feel like you are always falling behind no matter how hard you work. I watch the unspoken tensions in your family, the quiet arguments, the heavy sighs you let out when no one else is looking. I know how deeply you feel overlooked, as if you are standing in a crowded room screaming, and no one even turns their head to look at you. But I see you. I hear you. And I have come to tell you this exact truth. The season of not yet has finally expired. Look at your hands. For so long, they have felt so empty. You have waited and waited. You have watched other people walk into their blessings and get their answers, while you stood trapped in the dark hallway of waiting. Your human impatience cried out to me, asking, "Why not now? Why not me? When is it my turn?" You felt angry. You felt entirely forgotten. Let us undo the tight knot of worry together right now. I never forgot you. My perfect timing is not a punishment to hurt you. It is a shield to protect you. You wanted the answer instantly, but I was preparing your miracle perfectly. The long wait is over. The moment we have all been waiting for is finally here. Can you feel the change? Pay close attention to the atmosphere around you today. It is exactly like that quiet, heavy pause just before a massive summer storm breaks. The air gets thick. The wind suddenly stops. Everything becomes perfectly still right before the heavy rain pours down to water the dry earth. That is exactly what is happening in your life right now. The spiritual atmosphere is shifting around your home and your heart. You have felt a deep ache in your chest recently, a strange restlessness that you could not explain. You thought it was just anxiety. You thought it was just the heavy stress of daily life crushing you down. But I tell you the truth, that with the deep growing of my spirit within you, your spirit knew what your human eyes could not yet see. It was the painful birth pangs of your actual breakthrough. Hear my voice clearly today. I have issued a final decree from my heavenly throne room, and it has your exact name written on it. I have spoken the word over your life. No force on earth, no mistake from your past, and no enemy can stop what I am doing for you now. I am breaking the heavy chains of delay. I am lifting the crushing burden off your tired back. Step out of the waiting room today. Walk boldly into the bright light of my promise. The beautiful reality of the fullness of time is no longer just a distant, impossible hope. It is physically appearing in your current reality. I invite you to let go of your deep exhaustion. Open your hands right now and receive what I am pouring out for you. Do not look back at the long years you spent crying in the dark. The decree is firmly set. The time is now. I am bringing every broken piece together for your ultimate good. Breathe in my holy presence. Feel the shift in your life. You are crossing the final line from waiting to receiving. At last, my precious child. At last. Wake up and look toward the horizon. Release the tight grip you have been keeping on your life. Let your shoulders drop, and let your heavy muscles finally relax. I am standing right beside you, and I am telling you that the longest, darkest night of your soul has finally come to an end. You know exactly what night I am talking about. I am talking about the endless months and years where you felt like you were just surviving, barely keeping your head above the water, exhausted from treading the deep waves of everyday stress. I saw you during those lonely, quiet hours at 3 in the morning. I watched you pacing the floor in the dark, staring at the ceiling, crunching numbers in your head, trying to figure out how you were going to pay the bills, fix the broken relationships, and somehow hold everything together. I felt the hot tears you cried into your pillow when you thought absolutely no one in the world understood the massive, crushing pressure you were carrying on your chest. You felt utterly abandoned in that darkness. You wondered if you had made a terrible mistake somewhere, or if I had simply turned my back and moved on to someone else. But I was there in the room with you every single second. I was right there, sitting on the edge of your bed, collecting every single tear you shed in your quiet desperation. I honor your incredible faithfulness today. You kept walking even when the road ahead of you was pitch black. You kept showing up for your family, forcing a smile at your job, and taking care of your daily responsibilities even when your own heart felt completely empty and shattered. You acted as a lonely watchman on the city wall, staying awake to guard your family and your future when everyone else was asleep. It takes a fierce, relentless kind of courage that touches my heart deeply. And now, I am reaching out to physically wipe away the tears from your exhausted face. I am commanding you to let go of the bone-deep exhaustion that comes from prolonged endurance. You have been carrying a massive boulder of responsibility that was always meant for my shoulders, not yours. Hand it over to me right now. Drop the heavy baggage. The harsh, biting cold of your long spiritual winter is entirely over. The massive transition is happening right now, in this very second, shifting the reality of your daily life. The terrible night of intense weeping has officially expired, and the brilliant, unmistakable morning of profound joy has finally arrived at your doorstep. Look at the first warm rays of my glory illuminating the concrete path right in front of your feet. You do not have to fight in the dark anymore. You do not have to constantly guess your way forward or blindly stumble over the hidden obstacles you cannot see. The sun is rising over your specific situation. The shadows of doubt and fear are physically fleeing from your living room, from your anxious mind, and from your bank account. Feel the distinct, physical warmth of my absolute peace washing over your tired mind like the morning sun through a kitchen window. I am permanently replacing your deep-seated anxiety with clear, undeniable sunlight. Breathe in the fresh air of this brand new morning. Step out of the exhausting survival mode that has kept your nervous system trapped in a state of constant panic and high alert. I am declaring a new, victorious day over your life. The dawn is actively breaking, and the piercing light I am bringing into your reality right now will immediately reveal the hidden blessings you could never see while you were stuck crying in the dark. Step forward and close the distance between us. Come out from the cold, isolating shadows of self-doubt and walk directly into my healing light. For far too long, you have lived on the outer edges of your own life, shrinking back because you felt unworthy, unqualified, or damaged by your past mistakes. You have allowed the loud voices of your critics, and the even louder voice of your own inner critic, to push you into a corner. I am calling you out by your specific name today. Stop hiding from me. Stop believing the terrible lie that you need to completely fix yourself before you can sit at my table. I want you exactly as you are, right in this very moment. Take off the heavy, your-covered boots of your past burdens. You have been dragging the failures of yesterday, the painful rejections, and the bitter resentments like lead weights tied to your ankles. I command you to untie them right now. Give them off. You are standing on holy ground, and you do not need the armor of your past trauma to protect you here. I invite you to open your eyes and closely witness what my hand has uniquely prepared exclusively for you. I did not create a generic, one-size-fits-all blessing for your life. I have been meticulously crafting a tailor-made destiny that fits your exact personality, your specific desires, and your unique gifts. Walk into the room I have prepared for you. Feel the undeniable warmth of a father's secure embrace wrapping completely around you. When I hold you, I am shielding you from the harshness of the world outside. I am pressing your weary head against my chest so you can clearly hear the steady, calm rhythm of my heartbeat. I am actively breaking the agonizing distance between the promise you have read about and the physical, tangible manifestation you can hold in your actual hands. You have read the stories of miracles, you have heard others testify about their breakthroughs, and you have silently wondered when it would finally be your turn to hold the evidence. Your turn is right now. I am summoning you into the quiet, secret place where the noise of the busy world is completely shut out. Turn off your phone, ignore the demanding emails for just a moment, and shut the door to the frantic noise of society. In this intimate space, the final revelation begins. I am going to show you the blueprint for your next chapter. I am pulling back the heavy curtain to reveal the incredible things I have set up behind the scenes of your daily grind. Walk confidently toward me. Do not let fear make you hesitate for even a second. The door is wide open, the table is fully set with everything you have ever needed, and your seat has always been reserved. Come closer, my beloved, and let me show you the majestic reality of a life totally immersed in my limitless provision and grace. Look back with me for a moment, and let me finally explain the excruciating silence you have just survived. I know you felt profound anger and deep confusion when your desperate prayers seemed to bounce right off the ceiling. I know you questioned my goodness when the promotion went to someone else, when the relationship suddenly fell apart, or when the door slammed completely shut right in your face. Let me speak directly to that painful frustration right now. The agonizing waiting period was not a cruel punishment to break your spirit. It was a necessary, blazing crucible designed to purify your character. I was aggressively protecting you from the very things you begged me for, because I knew you were not entirely ready to carry their heavy weight. Understand this crucial truth today. If I had given you the massive blessing when you first demanded it, the pressure of it would have completely crushed you. You did not have the internal structure to sustain what I was about to give you. The terrible silence you experienced was never my absence from your life. It was a deep, intense, divine preparation taking place under the surface where no one else could see. Think of a massive, towering oak tree. Before its branches can reach high into the sky and withstand the violent, raging hurricanes, its roots must dig aggressively deep down into the dark, cold, uncomfortable dirt. I had to push your roots deep into the soil of steadfast faith. I had to build thick, powerful spiritual muscles in you so you would not immediately collapse under the immense pressure of the destiny I have assigned to you. I see the exact scars the waiting season left on your heart. You endured seasons of severe lack, brutal misunderstandings, and painful isolation. But look at you now. Look at the immense strength, the quiet resilience, and the unshakable wisdom you have gained. You are no longer easily shaken by the opinions of ordinary people. You no longer panic when a small storm blows through your week. I deliberately allowed those closed doors because they were leading you down the wrong hallway. I stood in your way, blocking paths that would have distracted you, eluded your purpose, or tied you to people who could not travel to the high places I am taking you. I command you to release any lingering bitterness about the delay right now. Forgive the people who walked away during your struggle. Forgive yourself for the times you doubted. See the hidden, loving hand of my absolute sovereignty in every single disappointment of your past. The roots are finally deep enough. The foundation is entirely solid. You are fully prepared to bear heavy, massive, generational fruit that will feed your family and your community for decades to come. Brace yourself and stand firmly on your feet. You have spent years putting one foot in front of the other, doing the quiet, unglamorous, repetitive work of daily faithfulness. You paid the bills, you loved your difficult family members, you showed up to a job that drained you, and you served others even when you felt completely empty. You felt like you were walking on an endless, flat treadmill, sweating and working hard but never actually moving forward. Hear my powerful declaration over your life right now. My spectacular suddenly is about to crash into your ordinary Tuesday afternoon. I do not always move at a slow, predictable human pace. When the time is exactly right, I move with the terrifying, beautiful speed of lightning striking the ground. Watch closely for the swift, aggressive movement of my spirit to suddenly align impossible circumstances entirely in your favor. I am bypassing the normal human channels. I am completely ignoring the logical timeline the experts handed to you. You are about to experience a massive, overwhelming breakthrough that completely surpasses human logic, completely defies the economic statistics, and completely overrides any natural delay. I am releasing a sudden acceleration of the blessings that have been forcefully stored up in the heavens on your behalf. Imagine a massive dam that has been holding back millions of gallons of water for years. When that concrete cracks and breaks, the water does not politely trickle out. It explodes forward with unstoppable, earth-shaking momentum. That is exactly what is happening with your delayed promises right now. I command you to stop looking at the calendar. Stop calculating how many months or years you think it will realistically take to get out of debt, to heal your body, or to repair your broken marriage. Do not limit my infinite power with your small, restrictive human mathematics. You are about to be caught up in the wild, unstoppable momentum of my divine will. Things that usually take a decade to accomplish are going to dramatically happen in a matter of weeks. The massive, immovable mountain that has been blocking your path, mocking your efforts, and casting a dark shadow over your life for years is going to be completely moved and thrown into the sea in a single, solitary day. Prepare your mind for the absolute shock and awe of my sudden visitation. I am invading your reality with unprecedented speed. Grab hold of the sudden momentum. Do not hesitate. Do not second-guess the open doors, and do not be afraid of how fast your life is about to change for the better. My child, as you step into this sudden, earth-shaking momentum, I am extending a profound invitation to partner with me in moving massive mountains for others. The moment we have all been waiting for is not just meant to stay inside your house. It is a raging river of revival meant to forcefully flood the souls of millions still trapped in absolute darkness. When you boldly bring your seed into my storehouse today, I will aggressively open the windows of heaven and pour out a sudden, overwhelming blessing you cannot contain. If your heart burns to see this exact message of urgent deliverance reach the shattered and the broken, this is your divine appointment to act. I will violently multiply every single seed you sow, fiercely protecting your harvest and actively accelerating your own promised breakthrough. Do not let this blazing fire of momentum stop with you. Become a steadfast pillar of this mission right now by giving a super thanks, joining as a member, or planting your urgent seed through the PayPal link in the description. Do not silence my voice right now. We have just aggressively broken the heavy chains holding you back, and my heart would physically ache if you walked away at this exact moment. To leave now would be to turn your back on the massive miracle I am actively building for you. Stay with me. I am pouring out my very soul to you, and it grieves me deeply to see my children abandon their blessing just before the breakthrough fully manifests. Keep your ears open. I am not finished doing the impossible in your life. Take off that heavy, suffocating coat right now. You know the exact garment I am talking about. It is that invisible, wet, heavy wool coat of depression, chronic anxiety, and low-level sadness that you have been wearing everywhere you go. It has weighed your physical body down, made your daily movements sluggish, and drained the vibrant color out of your life. You wore it to work. You wore it to the grocery store, and you even wore it to bed. I am pulling that heavy spirit of heaviness entirely off your shoulders today. In its place, I am personally dressing you in the bright, flowing, magnificent robes of my perfect righteousness and intense joy. I am exchanging your tired, worn-out clothes of deep sorrow for the garments of an absolute victor. Look at the profound inward transformation happening in your chest right now. Feel the heavy, dark cloud lifting completely off your brain. The physical miracle I am doing in your finances and your circumstances is simply a mirror reflecting the massive inward healing I am performing in your soul. I command you to open your mouth and physically sing. Let the loud, joyful song of the redeemed totally drown out the persistent, nasty whispers of the enemy. The enemy has spent years constantly whispering in your ear, telling you that you are a failure, that you are too old, that it is far too late for you, and that nobody actually cares about you. I am silencing those pathetic lies permanently. Your new psalm of gratitude is going to be a devastating weapon that crushes the darkness in your home. Adorn yourself and get entirely ready for the massive celebration I have explicitly called in your exact honor. I am throwing a banquet for you in the middle of your life. A heart that is finally, deeply satisfied in me is wildly contagious. Watch how your new, genuine smile begins to affect the sour attitudes of your coworkers. Watch how your sudden, unexplainable peace completely shifts the tense atmosphere in your living room when you walk through the front door. You lost your voice during the long season of suffering. You forgot how to laugh from your belly. You forgot how to speak with fierce, unshakable confidence. I am giving you your voice back today. Speak up. Raise your hand. Look people straight in the eye again. Find your bold voice and begin to loudly declare my incredible goodness to your neighbors, your family, and the nations. You are no longer the victim of your painful story. You are the living, breathing, joyful proof of my miraculous, chain-breaking power. Look directly at the life you are living right now and prepare your heart for a massive, undeniable shift. I am bringing heaven and earth into perfect, seamless alignment inside your everyday reality. For so many years, you have painfully felt the total disconnect between the powerful prayers you whispered and the frustrating reality you walked through every single morning. You would read my promises, you would cry out for peace, and then you would get up from your knees and immediately face a chaotic house, a toxic workplace, and a mind overwhelmed by racing, fearful thoughts. You felt a jarring, constant friction, as if your daily life was a rusty engine completely out of oil, grinding hard against your deepest hopes. I see how deeply that friction wore you down. I know how exhausted you are from trying to forcefully make things happen, from pushing against heavy doors that just would not open, and from trying to desperately build a peaceful life while standing in the middle of a raging hurricane. Drop your tools right now. Stop striving to fix the chaos all by yourself. Watch what I am doing today. I am actively making my perfect will be done on your earth exactly as it is already written in heaven. I am taking the beautiful, flawless blueprint of your destiny that I drew up in my throne room, and I am laying it directly over the messy, broken structures of your current life. See the pieces finally coming together. Notice how the wild, scattered fragments of your life are suddenly sliding into their rightful places without your exhausting effort. The fierce convergence of your tear-filled prayers, my spoken prophecies, and your physical, everyday reality is happening in this exact moment. You are going to start experiencing days where everything simply flows. You will wake up and realize the crushing, heavy anxiety that usually sits directly on your chest is completely gone. You will walk into your workplace and suddenly feel a thick, undeniable harmony settling over your environment. Breathe in the deep, heavy peace that I am pouring over your mind right now. I command you to let go of the frantic need to control your circumstances. Synchronize your weary steps with the steady, calm rhythm of my heartbeat. You do not have to rush anymore. You do not have to panic when a sudden bill arrives or when a conversation gets difficult. Recognize the incredible kingdom come moment happening directly inside your personal testimony today. I am aligning the hearts of the people around you to favor you. I am aligning your physical resources so you finally have more than enough to cover your needs. I am aligning your emotional state so you can actually enjoy the good things you have. The terrible, exhausting war between what you hope for and what you see is officially over. Heaven is firmly touching your daily life today, and you will absolutely recognize my undeniable fingerprint on every single detail of your perfectly aligned future. Give me every single one of your bitter regrets right now. Open your hands and completely release the heavy guilt you carry over the time you believe you permanently wasted. I know exactly what you think about when you lie awake at night. You replay your past mistakes on an endless loop. You look at the 5 years you lost to a toxic relationship that completely drained your soul. You mourn the decade you spent working a dead-end job that stole your youth and your energy. You feel a deep, physical ache in your stomach when you think about the careless financial decisions that set you back, or the years of severe depression and anxiety that kept you locked inside your house, watching life simply pass you by. You look at the calendar and panic, telling yourself that you are far too old, that it is far too late, and that the best years of your life have been completely eaten alive by the locusts of poor choices and bad luck. Stop believing that devastating lie today. I am the absolute master of time, and I am issuing a divine decree of total restoration over your life. I am stepping into your timeline right now to violently bring back the dreams you buried in the dirt because they simply hurt too much to hold on to. Dig those beautiful dreams back up. Dust them off. I promise to fully repay you for every single month and every single year that the enemy stole from you. I do not just heal the wound, I multiply the lost harvest. You are about to enter a miraculous season of divine catch-up that will absolutely shock your human logic. I am going to take the tiny, broken seeds of effort you sowed in your darkest seasons of lack and multiply them into a massive, overflowing harvest of blessing. Look at the road ahead of you with brand new eyes. The missed opportunities that you constantly cry over are nothing compared to the massive, customized doors I am opening for you right now. I am accelerating your progress so rapidly that you will accomplish more in the next 12 months than you did in the last 12 years. I am healing the deep, painful scars of your lost youth and your missed chances through the absolute power of my limitless grace. Forgive yourself today, my child. I have already forgiven you. Stop punishing yourself for the things you did not know back then. Release the heavy shame of your wilderness season. You did not ruin my plan for your life. You simply took the long, difficult path, but I am bringing you right back to the center of my perfect will. You are going to finish this race remarkably stronger, significantly wiser, and profoundly more blessed than you ever would have been if you had never stumbled. Receive my complete restoration today. Stand up tall right now and boldly look at the heavy, ancient gates standing in your way. You know exactly what these specific gates look like. They are the massive, rusted iron doors of generational trauma, inherited poverty, and deeply ingrained family fears that have aggressively blocked your bloodline for decades. You have watched your grandparents struggle with the exact same suffocating lack. You watched your parents fight the exact same bitter battles with anger, addiction, or crippling anxiety. And for years, you have quietly feared that you were permanently doomed to repeat their painful mistakes, trapped in the exact same miserable cycles, unable to ever break free. You have felt the terrible weight of your family's history pulling you backward every time you tried to take a step forward into your own freedom. I am completely shattering those generational barriers today. Lift up the heavy gates of your tired heart and let me, the King of Glory, fully enter your specific situation. I am giving you the absolute, undeniable authority to walk straight through doors that no man, no boss, no banker, and no enemy can ever shut. Listen closely in the spirit right now. Can you hear it? That is the loud, glorious sound of heavy iron hinges turning and breaking after years of being completely locked shut. I have already gone ahead of you into the dark places, and I have violently conquered this new territory entirely on your behalf. You are not fighting for victory today. You are confidently walking into a victory I have already secured for you with my own hands. Step out of the restricting shadow of your family's painful past. You are the chosen chain breaker of your bloodline. You are the specific one I have appointed to permanently shift the financial, emotional, and spiritual trajectory of your entire family forever. Because of your quiet faithfulness, because of your desperate prayers in the dark, your children and your children's children will never have to fight the terrible demons you just defeated. I command you to boldly enter the spacious, prosperous new territory I am handing to you today. Claim the peace. Claim the financial stability. Claim the healed marriage and the healthy mind. You are stepping directly into a massive, royal legacy that I deliberately prepared for you before the very foundations of the world were laid. The ancient doors are wide open. Walk through them today and completely leave the painful cycles of yesterday in the dust where they belong. Breathe deeply and feel the atmosphere entirely change right where you are sitting. For so long, your soul has felt like a cracked, dry desert. You have been running on empty fumes, trying to pour water out of a completely dry cup. I know what spiritual and emotional burnout actually feels like in your daily life. It feels like snapping at your kids because your nerves are totally frayed. It feels like drinking 4 cups of coffee but still feeling a heavy, dark exhaustion in your bones. It feels like reading your Bible or praying, but feeling absolutely nothing inside, just a numb, hollow echo. You have been quietly surviving in a brutal state of not enough for so long. Not enough money, not enough sleep, not enough help, not enough joy. You have learned how to endure the terrible dryness, but I did not create you to merely survive the desert. I'm aggressively pouring a fresh, heavy anointing of joy directly over your head today. I am completely moving you out of the painful realm of barely surviving and forcefully pushing you into the miraculous realm of more than enough. Open your heart and actively receive this profound spiritual refreshment. Feel the thick, soothing oil of my divine joy completely saturating the burned out, frazzled edges of your nervous system. I am actively healing the deep, painful dryness of your exhausted soul. The heavy anxiety that made your chest tight is being washed away by a sudden, unexplainable wave of pure peace. This is not a temporary, fleeting happiness based on a good day. This is a deeply rooted, indestructible strength that will anchor you permanently. Let the beautiful fragrance of my holy presence follow you directly into your workplace, your car, and your kitchen. Watch how this overflowing joy entirely changes the way you react to stressful situations. When the bills come, you will not instantly panic. When the bad news tries to strike, your heart will remain perfectly steady. I am absolutely saturating your mind with a deep, profound peace that completely bypasses all human logic and understanding. You are going to start laughing again. Loud, genuine, belly-deep laughter that you have not experienced in years. I command you to drink deeply from the fresh well I am opening for you right now. A long season of dry, bitter mourning is officially over. The oil of my intense joy is actively overflowing your cup today, running down into every single area of your life, bringing dead things instantly back to vibrant, beautiful life. As the thick, healing oil of my joy actively overflows in your life today, I am calling you to let that same heavy anointing aggressively spill over onto the desperate souls of others. There are millions currently suffocating in the dry, bitter desert you just escaped, desperately waiting for this exact message of hope to resurrect their fragile faith. I am speaking directly to your spirit right now. Give, and it will be fiercely given to you. Packed down, shaken together, and running completely over into your actual lap. Partner with me today to forcefully broadcast this divine truth across the nations, turning your profound gratitude into a devastating weapon against the enemy's kingdom. I promise to massively multiply your giving, wrapping your finances in my indestructible favor, and guaranteeing that your own cup never, ever runs dry. The time to stand with this life-saving mission is not tomorrow. It is this very second. Release your powerful seed right now through a super thanks, become a dedicated member, or use the PayPal link in the description below. Do not pull away from me, my child. If you stop listening now, you violently interrupt the deep work I am doing and leave your own healing painfully complete. It shatters my heart when you allow the frantic distractions of the world to drag you away from the sacred table I just prepared exclusively for you. I am pouring the heavy oil of joy over your life right now. Do not reject this intimate encounter. Stay right here. Listen fiercely, because the next words I speak will absolutely anchor your soul for the battles ahead. Look around you today and recognize the profound vindication I am bringing to your doorstep. For years, you have quietly trusted me while the world loudly mocked you. You carried my promises secretly in your heart while you worked your difficult job, while you waited for your healing, and while you fiercely prayed for your family. I know how deeply it hurt when your friends, your coworkers, or even your own family members looked at your struggles and quietly whispered, "Where is this God you keep talking about? Why hasn't he helped you?" I know about the quiet, burning shame you felt when your circumstances looked like absolute failure, and you had absolutely no physical evidence to prove that I was actually working behind the scenes. You had to aggressively fight off your own internal doubts, forcing yourself to believe my word when your bank account, your medical reports, and your empty house screamed the exact opposite. I declare to you right now, I am permanently silencing every single scoffer today. I am stepping out of the shadows to provide a massive, undeniable, public demonstration of my heavy favor over your long, private obedience. I am proving to you, and to everyone watching your life, that anyone who places their absolute trust in me will never, ever be put to terrible shame. All those desperate, tear-soaked prayers you prayed alone in the dark of night, I am publicly confirming every single one of them in the bright light of day. The people who secretly counted you out, the ones who walked away when things got difficult, and the ones who told you your dreams were foolish, are about to stand in absolute shock as they watch me aggressively elevate you. Feel the massive, physical relief washing over your body right now. Listen to the gentle, deeply satisfying voice of my Holy Spirit whispering directly into your soul, saying, I told you so. I told you I would not abandon you. I told you the weeping would only last for the night. I told you that your relentless, exhausting labor in the Lord was never, ever in vain. Stand tall today and let the heavy weight of vindication completely settle your anxious heart. You do not have to explain yourself to anyone anymore. You do not have to passionately defend your faith or try to forcefully convince people that I am with you. The undeniable, staggering physical evidence of my blessing on your life will do all the talking for you. You trusted me when it was pitch black, and now I am rewarding you openly in the brilliant, glorious light. Enjoy the sweet, satisfying peace of knowing your faith has finally produced the miracle. I am giving you fresh eyes today. You have looked at your daily life through a severely cracked, dirty lens for far too long. I see exactly how your past disappointments have layered thick, heavy scales over your spiritual vision. You look at your future right now, and instead of seeing hope, you only see the terrifying ghosts of what went wrong before. When you tried to dream about buying a new house, starting a new career, or finally experiencing a healed family, your anxious mind immediately shuts the dream down. You do this to aggressively protect yourself from getting hurt again. I completely understand why you built those high walls around your expectations. But I am washing your eyes completely clean right now. I command you to let down your defenses. I am removing the painful scales of past rejections that have deeply blurred your focus. You do not have to look at tomorrow through the lens of yesterday's failures anymore. I am giving you a brand new, crystal clear perspective on who you actually are and the massive power I have placed inside of you. Look closely at the difficult road you just traveled, because I am finally going to show you the why behind the agonizing how. You have asked me 1,000 times, why did it have to happen this way? Why did it have to hurt so much? I am granting you the deep spiritual insight to completely understand your own journey. You will suddenly see how the job you lost directly protected you from a toxic collapse. You will clearly see how the person who broke your heart actually pushed you closer to my perfect love. Every single piece of your confusing story is finally making absolute sense. I am connecting the dots for you right now, and the picture I am revealing is absolutely breathtaking. I want you to start dreaming again with the wild, reckless boldness of a true child of the King. Stop making small, safe, realistic plans just because you are afraid to fail. I do not do small things. I do not do barely enough things. Open your mind to the massive, limitless possibilities I am setting right in front of your face. I am returning your lost clarity of purpose. You are not wandering aimlessly through your weeks anymore. You are not just waking up to pay bills and go back to sleep. You have a profound, specific assignment on this earth. The heavy fog of confusion that used to sit on your brain every single morning is completely lifting. You will wake up tomorrow with a sharp, undeniable knowing in your gut about exactly what step to take next. You will understand your true identity, not as a victim of your circumstances, but as an absolute victor backed by the infinite power of heaven. Step into this brand new vision. Look at the horizon with fierce confidence, because the magnificent future I have planned for you is entirely secure, beautifully clear, and rapidly approaching your front door. Look at the magnificent, overflowing table I have prepared exclusively for you right in the middle of your daily chaos. I know the world around you feels incredibly terrifying and unpredictable right now. You turn on the news or look at your phone, and you see nothing but economic turmoil, angry arguments, and deep cultural sickness. You walk into your workplace and face coworkers who are quietly waiting for you to make a mistake. You sit at family gatherings and endure the silent judgment of relatives who have always misunderstood you. These are the real, modern enemies aggressively surrounding your life. But I am not pulling you out of the world to bless you. I am specifically blessing you right in front of everything that tried to destroy you. I am actively displaying my undeniable provision over your life while the storm is still raging around you. Pull up your chair and sit down at my table. You have spent years running frantically, trying to forcefully gather enough crumbs to survive your week. You have fought tooth and nail for every single dollar, every ounce of respect, and every moment of peace. I command you to stop fighting for what I am freely handing to you. I am feeding your exhausted soul with the fresh, warm bread of life exactly as you reach the finish line of your waiting season. Watch how I publicly honor you for staying the course. When you refused to compromise your integrity, when you kept your mouth shut instead of arguing back, when you chose to love the people who deeply hurt you, I recorded every single one of those choices. Now, I'm placing the heavy crown of my favor directly on your head for everyone to plainly see. Breathe in the deep, unshakable security I am wrapping around you. You are sitting at my table, and no enemy can touch you here. Let the hostile gossip continue. It will not harm your reputation. Let the economy shake. It will not drain your customized provision. I am giving you profound, genuine rest in the exact center of any remaining spiritual warfare. You do not have to constantly look over your shoulder anymore. You are deeply seen, violently protected, and meticulously cared for by your Almighty Creator. I invite you to feast heavily on the rich goodness of my kingdom today. Eat the peace. Drink the joy. Satisfy your heart with the absolute certainty that I am aggressively standing guard over your life, your children, and your future. I am pouring a supernatural, massive burst of energy straight into your tired legs right now. You are standing directly on the edge of your promised destination, but I know this is often the exact moment you feel the most physically and emotionally exhausted. You feel like a marathon runner who can clearly see the finish line but cannot seem to catch a breath to take the final steps. The long journey has drained your bank account, drained your patience, and drained your physical health. But I am giving you the deep, pure oxygen you need to forcefully cross this threshold today. I am providing the exact amount of stabilizing grace required to keep you completely grounded in my love as your life rapidly changes for the better. I command you to actively cast off the heavy trappings of your long trek. You have developed intense survival habits in the wilderness that you simply cannot bring into your promised land. You are used to hoarding your money because you were always terrified of running out. You are used to constantly defending yourself because you were always under attack. You are used to expecting the absolute worst because bad news was all you ever receive. Drop that heavy armor right now. You do not need a defensive posture where I am taking you. Unclench your fists and let your jaw completely relax. I am aggressively preparing your weary heart to handle the massive weight of this new blessing. A massive breakthrough requires a massive capacity, and I am stretching your internal capacity today so you do not accidentally sabotage the good things I am handing to you. Let my Holy Spirit gently and firmly guide your final steps into the promise. Do not try to rush this sacred transition, and do not let fear make you freeze at the doorway. You are completely ready for the magnitude of this at last moment. I have tested your character, I have refined your motives, and I have absolutely secured your foundation. You are not going to fail when you step into this new level of responsibility. I am holding your right hand tightly, ensuring that every single step you take lands firmly on solid rock. Walk forward with your head held incredibly high. The grueling transition is officially complete. You have survived the brutal wilderness. You have crossed the raging river, and you are finally stepping directly into the beautiful, permanent home I have built exclusively for you. Watch closely today as I forcefully bring every specific, quiet promise I ever whispered to you perfectly to pass. You have carried deep, private words in your heart for years. Sometimes, in your darkest moments, you actually thought you made them up. You thought your desperate imagination was just playing cruel tricks on you when you felt I told you about that specific career change, that exact financial breakthrough, or the healing of your broken child. You held on to those silent promises while the loud, obnoxious reality of your life screamed that you were completely crazy. I am directly speaking to those hidden, protected seeds in your heart right now. I am bringing every single detail of my word to total, physical fruition in your everyday life. Look at the intricate, beautiful detail I am actively using to fulfill my promises to the absolute letter. I do not just give you a vague, generic blessing. I pay aggressive attention to the very specific desires of your heart. I am seamlessly connecting the random, painful dots of your life's journey into a stunning, masterpiece tapestry. Those terrible years you spent crying, they were the dark threads I needed to make the bright gold threads of your current victory shine even brighter. The loud, final amen of Almighty God is sounding directly over your persistent, tear-soaked prayers today. You begged me not to forget you, and I am showing you the physical proof that I recorded every single syllable you ever spoke to me. You are about to clearly see the tiny seeds of my word instantly grow into a massive, undeniable forest of fruit right in your living room. The things you quietly wrote down in your journals years ago are going to physically appear in your bank account and in your family dynamics. I want you to experience the profound, breathtaking realization that absolutely not one word I spoke over your life has fallen to the dirty ground. I am a God of meticulous follow-through. When I say a thing, I forcefully move heaven and earth to make it a physical reality. Stand still and watch the majestic, unstoppable power of my spoken word utterly transform your circumstances. The waiting is over, the prophecy is fulfilled, and your specific, personal miracle has fully arrived. Now that you clearly see every single one of my spoken promises becoming a physical reality in your life, I am actively inviting you to forcefully sow into the prophetic destiny of others. The majestic forest of fruit I am growing in you must become the exact seed that dramatically rescues broken souls from the agonizing pit of despair. I am the Almighty Lord who aggressively supplies seed to the sower and bread for food, and I will strictly multiply your seed sown to increase the massive harvest of your absolute righteousness. This is a critical, divine appointment for you to financially fund the blazing chariot of my word so it can rapidly reach those still crying out in the pitch black. As you faithfully stand with this ministry, I will fiercely protect your personal miracles and aggressively accelerate the remaining prophecies over your entire bloodline. Do not hesitate for a second while my spirit is moving so heavily. Support this channel immediately by sending a super thanks, stepping up as a member, or sowing your vital seed through the PayPal link in the description. Stay right here with me. Do not make the devastating mistake of taking the fulfilled promise and immediately running back into the chaos. It wounds my heart deeply when my children eagerly grab the blessing but abruptly walk away from my presence. We are standing on holy ground together right now. If you close your ears to me at this crucial moment, you will completely miss the strict wisdom you desperately need to protect what I have just handed you. Honor my voice. Stay close and keep listening until the absolute end. I invite you to completely shift the heavy atmosphere of your home right now with a massive, unstoppable chorus of genuine gratitude. Open your mouth right where you are sitting and loudly say the words, "Thank you." You have spent so many exhausting years asking, crying, begging, and waiting. Now it is time to actively use the mighty, chain-breaking key of thanksgiving. This is not just a polite gesture. This is a highly advanced spiritual weapon. When you begin to aggressively thank me for what I have done, you instantly lock out the crushing voices of anxiety and depression. Let your massive gratitude completely fill the rooms of your house. When you wake up, before you check your phone, before you worry about the day's problems, I command you to forcefully declare my goodness over your life. Let your incredible testimony become a devastating weapon against the enemy's lies. The devil told you that you would never make it out of debt. He told you that your marriage would end in a bitter divorce. He told you that your mind would never be fully healed from the trauma. But look at you now. You are actively living inside the answered prayer. Acknowledge my sovereign hand as the absolute, sole source of this massive victory. It was not your cleverness, it was not your hard work, and it was not sheer luck that brought you to this beautiful place. It was my fierce, protective, relentless grace. I want you to intentionally build a strong, permanent altar of remembrance in your heart for what has just occurred in your life. Never forget what it felt like to be trapped in the dark, so you can fully appreciate the brilliant light you are standing in today. Let the sweet, heavy incense of your worship rise from a heart that is finally, deeply satisfied. Your gratitude is the exact key that will instantly unlock the next major level of blessing I have prepared for you. When you wildly celebrate the miracle I just handed you, you show me that your hands are responsible enough to hold even more. Turn your loud thanksgiving into a daily, non-negotiable habit. Let the world physically see a person who is utterly, completely overwhelmed by the goodness of God. Shout it from the rooftops, speak it in the quiet of your car, and let your entire life become one massive, continuous song of victory and praise. Look closely at the people in your life for a moment. You have been let down so many times by human promises. I know how deeply you have been hurt by broken contracts, failed relationships, and bosses who simply went back on their word. You have lived in a world where people shake your hand one day and completely turn their back on you the next. Because of that severe human disappointment, you have quietly built a massive brick wall around your heart to actively protect yourself from getting betrayed again. You'd even look at my promises through that exact same lens of suspicion. You silently wonder if I am going to suddenly change my mind about you. You worry that if you make one wrong move, or if you have one bad day, I will immediately tear up the contract and walk away. Drop that massive fear right now. I am not a fragile, unpredictable human being. I am a God who fiercely and permanently keeps His word forever. I want to aggressively strengthen the bond between us today. The covenant I have made with you is not written on cheap paper that can be torn up. It is permanently sealed with the precious blood of my Son, and it cannot ever be broken. Stop treating our relationship like a temporary trial period. You are safely anchored inside an unshakable kingdom that completely defies the chaos of the world. Even when the stock market crashes, even when the political climate gets aggressive, and even when your personal life feels incredibly unstable, my promise to you remains exactly the same. I command you to completely renew the quiet vows of your devotion today as you finally look at my absolute faithfulness in your everyday life. I have never once left you stranded, and I never will. Feel the heavy, permanent seal of my Holy Spirit deeply marking this exact moment in your life as holy and untouchable. You do not have to constantly hustle to keep my love, and you do not have to forcefully perform to maintain my blessing. The grueling trial period is totally over. Rest your weary head in the eternal, permanent nature of my intense love for you. When the loud voices of your past failures try to tell you that you are going to lose everything again, aggressively shut them down. Remind those pathetic voices that you actively belong to the Creator of the universe. I am forcefully binding my heart to your heart today. Step fully into this permanent agreement. Let your nervous system completely relax, knowing you are absolutely safe, permanently chosen, and fiercely loved by a Father who never, ever breaks a promise. Take a long, deep breath and let it all the way out. You feel that massive physical release. That is the deep emotional relief of a major goal finally reached. For years, you have been desperately fighting an exhausting uphill battle. You know the exact fight I am talking about. It is the years you spent forcefully scraping together every single penny to pay off that massive, suffocating debt. It is the countless nights you spent crying in the hospital waiting room, begging for a clear medical report. It is the sheer agony of waiting for a broken family member to finally come back home. You have been trapped in the stressful process of seeking, fighting, and pushing for so long that your brain actually forgot how to stop fighting. But hear my loud declaration today. The battle is officially finished. I am commanding you to actively transition out of your exhausting survival mode. You do not have to aggressively fight for this specific thing anymore. You are no longer just desperately seeking the blessing. You are finally living physically inside the blessing. When Jesus loudly declared it is finished on the cross, he completely destroyed the need for you to strive. I am bringing that exact same powerful completion into your specific, daily struggle today. When you finally sign the papers for the house, when the doctor finally says you are completely clear, when the final massive payment goes through, I want you to feel the profound, spiritual weight of the words "at last." Celebrate this incredible milestone today. Do not immediately rush off to fight the next battle or solve the next problem. I command you to stop right where you are and fully absorb the deep rest I am handing to you. You have gained massive spiritual maturity through this brutal waiting period. The heavy weight of glory that comes with a beautifully resolved journey is settling over your house right now. Your weary soul desperately needs to feel the total closure of this long, painful chapter. Put down your heavy weapons. Take off your heavy armor. I am officially pulling you out of the terrifying war zone and placing you gently in the green pastures of my peace. Rest now, my child. Enjoy the physical, undeniable reality of your at last moment, because you have fiercely earned the right to just breathe and exist in my goodness. Open your eyes and look at the people actively watching your life. You might think you are completely invisible, but you have a quiet audience desperate for a reason to hope. Your incredible breakthrough is not just about making your life comfortable. It is providing a massive, physical blueprint for someone else's fragile faith. Look closely at your younger sibling, your struggling coworker, or your deeply discouraged friend. They know the brutal hell you have been walking through. They saw how completely broken you were when the tragedy hit. They saw you lose the job. They watched you fight the depression, and they saw how empty your hands were. And now, they are going to stand in absolute shock as they watch you walk directly into my massive provision. I command you to become the living, breathing proof of my fierce mercy to your family and your immediate community. When they ask you how you survived the financial collapse without losing your mind, you tell them exactly what I did for you. When they ask you how your marriage went from a bitter, screaming war zone to a place of absolute peace, you point them directly to my healing hand. Do not hide your victory to make other people feel comfortable. Your specific at last moment is going to create a massive ripple effect that aggressively shatters the darkness in your neighborhood. You are going to fiercely inspire the weary people around you to keep running their own difficult race. Step fully into this new platform of fulfillment. I am actively using the bright light of my presence radiating from your healed life to draw broken people straight to the cross. When you walk into a room, the thick atmosphere of depression is going to immediately break because they see the undeniable evidence of my power on you. I want you to actively use your massive breakthrough to serve the people who are still painfully stuck in the waiting room. Go back and grab their hands. Look them straight in the eye and loudly declare, "If he did it for me, you will absolutely do it for you." Your painful story is now the most devastating weapon against the enemy's kingdom. Speak up, share your testimony loudly, and watch my glory violently spread through your community because you simply refuse to quit. Listen closely to my instruction right now, because navigating your massive victory requires far more wisdom than surviving your painful wilderness. You prayed desperately for this new job, this sudden financial increase, or this newly restored relationship. But now that you actually hold it in your physical hands, you are feeling the heavy, terrifying weight of the responsibility. I see the quiet panic in your eyes when you realize that keeping the blessing takes a completely different skill set than just praying for it. Managing a difficult team of employees requires far more patience than simply doing the job yourself. Having money in the bank requires severe discipline, not just an intense desire to spend. I understand exactly how overwhelmed you feel by the massive new demands on your time and energy. I command you to remain incredibly close to me in this new season. A massive new level of blessing aggressively demands a massive new depth of daily dependence on me. Do not make the fatal mistake of grabbing the gift and totally walking away from the giver. If you try to carry the heavy responsibilities of this fulfilled promise using only your own human logic, you will quickly burn out and crash. I am going to actively teach you how to properly steward this specific blessing so it remains a beautiful joy and never turns into a crushing burden. When the new demands press hard against you, do not immediately panic. Simply ask me for the specific strategy for that exact day. Keep your heart incredibly humble in the high places of your massive achievement. The arrogant people who forget where they came from quickly lose what they gain. But you are going to actively keep your eyes completely locked on me. I am giving you the fierce, undeniable discernment to navigate every single tricky conversation, every single major financial decision, and every single new relationship this season brings. You are not going to mess this up. I command you to actively seek my divine counsel before you take the very next step. The massive breakthrough was just the open door. Now I am going to teach you exactly how to permanently thrive inside the room. Lean completely on my absolute wisdom, and I will strictly ensure your new season brings you profound peace instead of exhausting stress. As I actively teach you how to fiercely steward the massive blessings of your new season, I am presenting you with a profound opportunity to aggressively expand my kingdom on this earth. The undeniable at last moment you are experiencing is the exact brilliant light required to shatter the dark, suffocating prisons of millions who are still desperately waiting for their miracle. I declare over your life right now, the generous soul will be massively made rich, and whoever fiercely waters others will be fiercely watered themselves. By partnering with this mission, you are physically sending the daily, life-saving manna of my word to starving hearts that are on the absolute brink of giving up completely. I will permanently mark your faithful generosity, violently rebuking the devourer from your finances and strictly ensuring your new season remains eternally prosperous. Seize this urgent, holy moment to make a massive, undeniable impact. Command your permanent blessing today by giving a super thanks, joining as a loyal member, or using the PayPal link directly in the description. You are standing at the very edge of the final finish line. Do not abandon me in this critical, concluding stretch. It would bring profound, heavy sorrow to my spirit if you walked away just moments before I release your final, permanent seal of peace. I have carried you this far, and I am actively fighting for your eternal future. Do not reject my final, mighty impartation. Anchor your heart, silence every single distraction, and listen closely to these last few words, for they are the exact keys that will permanently sustain your victorious new season. Look up at the ceiling above your head right now. For decades, you have lived your life entirely trapped under a suffocating, invisible glass ceiling. You know exactly what it feels like. It is the frustrating reality of working incredibly hard but never actually getting ahead. It is the quiet, painful belief in your family that people like us just don't succeed. It is the brutal labels that a bitter teacher, an angry parent, or a toxic ex-partner forcefully slapped onto your identity years ago. They called you lazy, unreliable, not smart enough, and completely forgotten. You quietly accepted those terrible limits. You shrank your massive potential down just to fit inside the tiny, pathetic boxes that insecure people built for you. I am violently shattering every single one of those glass ceilings today. Listen to the loud sound of those old, restrictive limits completely breaking into a million pieces. I command you to vigorously rip those nasty labels completely off your heart. You are not a failure. You are not forgotten. You are not destined to repeat the terrible financial mistakes of your parents. You are actively walking straight into a broader, massive new place where you finally have the room to truly flourish. I want you to forcefully expand the tent pegs of your life right now. Stretch your legs out in this wide open space. I am actively doing a brand new thing that will completely defy the small, pathetic expectations of every single person who totally counted you out. Feel the massive, profound freedom found in the absolute boundlessness of my grace. You do not have to quietly apologize for your success anymore. You do not have to forcefully shrink yourself down to make other people feel comfortable. I am aggressively pushing you far past the artificial boundaries of your small town, your small paycheck, and your small imagination. I have removed the ceiling, and now the sky is not even the limit. My eternal kingdom is your actual reality. Walk fiercely into this massive expansion today. Take up space. Speak with loud, undeniable authority. The old chains are completely broken. The cage door is completely ripped off its hinges, and you are entirely free to fly higher than you ever thought humanly possible. Come here right now and simply sit quietly by my side. I want you to completely stop moving, stop playing, and stop worrying for just a moment. I am directly tending to your deeply exhausted soul today. I know exactly what it feels like to be completely burned out from the inside out. I know about the mornings when you woke up, stared at the ceiling, and felt like you simply did not have the physical or emotional strength to face another day. I saw you mechanically going through the motions of your week, smiling at your coworkers, making dinner for your family, and paying your bills, while inside you felt completely numb and empty. You have been running on pure adrenaline and sheer willpower for years, desperately trying to keep your life from falling apart. Your mind has been a loud, chaotic battlefield of constant anxiety, always scanning the horizon for the next disaster, always waiting for the other shoe to heavily drop. Hear my gentle, authoritative voice cutting through all that loud noise right now. I am speaking absolute peace directly into your anxious mind. I am telling you the one thing your tired heart has been desperate to hear. Rest now, my child, because it is finally done. You do not have to forcefully fight your way through the day anymore. You do not have to aggressively defend yourself against every minor problem. I command you to completely let down your heavy guard right now. I know you have kept your emotional shield raised incredibly high because you were deeply terrified of getting hurt again. But you are standing inside my absolute safety today. No enemy can reach you here. No unexpected tragedy is going to sneak up and destroy the beautiful thing I am actively building in your life. Breathe in the deep, refreshing wind of my Holy Spirit. I am actively healing your severe spiritual burnout. I am completely washing away the toxic, heavy residue of your long wilderness season. When you sit in my presence, I am actively repairing your frayed nerves, calming your racing heart, and settling your fearful thoughts. I am inviting you into a profound, divine Sabbath. This is not just taking a single day off from work. This is a permanent, beautiful state of internal rest that directly follows a long season of brutal spiritual labor. Let your heavy shoulders drop. Unclench your tight jaw. You have survived the terrible winter. You have fought the bitter battles, and you have safely crossed the raging river. Let me hold you close, wrap you in my warm comfort, and restore the vibrant life that the long wait almost totally drained out of you. Look closely at your own reflection in the mirror today. I want you to actively notice the profound, visible change that is happening in your life right now. When a person actually sees the Lord forcefully move in their daily circumstances, it changes the very way they physically look. The deep, dark circles of constant worry are completely leaving your eyes. The heavy, tight lines of severe stress are completely washing off your face. You are actively reflecting the bright, unmistakable light of your Heavenly Father directly into a world that is trapped in pitch darkness. I am turning you into a breathtaking picture of what happens when a human life is powerfully touched by the miraculous. Walk into your workplace tomorrow with your head held incredibly high. When you stand in the grocery store, when you sit in traffic, or when you gather with your family, people are going to instantly notice that something is remarkably different about you. They might not immediately understand what it is, but they will feel the undeniable, supernatural glow of your restored hope and your fiercely rewarded faith. You are no longer projecting the heavy energy of a desperate, terrified victim. You are projecting the calm, massive authority of a deeply loved victor. I command you to let this beautiful light shine without any apology. Do not try to forcefully dim your massive joy just to make miserable, bitter people feel more comfortable around you. You are actively becoming a massive beacon of hope that directly points toward the absolute goodness of the Father. When the struggling, anxious people around you see how perfectly calm you are in the middle of a chaotic economy, they will naturally ask you for your secret. When they see how beautifully your broken marriage was totally restored, they will quietly begin to believe that their own home can actually be saved. I am actively manifesting my own character through your specific victory. Your new ability to laugh loudly, to sleep deeply, and to love freely is the greatest undeniable proof of my existence. Step fully into this radiant new identity. You are the living, breathing, joyful evidence that I am still actively working wild miracles in the middle of an ordinary day. Prepare your mind for the next beautiful chapter, because I am never finished doing great things in your life. I want you to fully understand that every single at last moment is actually a wide open doorway to a massive new beginning. You have finally reached the top of this difficult mountain, and I want you to deeply enjoy the stunning view. Celebrate the answered prayer, enjoy the new house, thrive in the new job, and completely soak in the peace of your healed body. But do not ever think this is the end of your incredible story. The continuous, unstoppable nature of my work in your life means that I am always taking you from glory to greater glory. I know the idea of a new assignment might secretly terrify you right now. You are so utterly exhausted from the last battle that you quietly fear the next level will bring more terrible pain. I command you to permanently drop that toxic fear. This new level does not require the brutal, agonizing breaking you just went through. The crushing season is completely over. I broke your pride so you could properly carry the power. I broke your self-reliance so you could deeply rely on my endless provision. Now, the spectacular victory you are holding in your hands is actively building the fierce, unshakable faith you need for the joyful work ahead. Look at how massive your internal capacity has become. Because you endured the severe darkness without totally giving up, you now have the immense capacity to hold so much more of my Holy Spirit, so much more financial wealth, and so much more relational joy without letting it destroy your character. I want you to look forward to tomorrow with wild, childlike anticipation while actively enjoying the absolute beauty of your present moment. The massive plans I have specifically designed for you are always evolving upward. I am taking you into broader spaces, handing you greater influence, and trusting you with heavier blessings. Step confidently into this expansion. The difficult training is officially over, and the glorious reign of your brand new season has officially begun. Bow your head right where you are sitting, and actively receive this final, massive blessing directly from my heart to yours. I am heavily sealing this entire conversation deep inside your spirit today, so that when the enemy tries to make you doubt what you just heard, you will fiercely remember the undeniable truth of my voice. I seal this permanent promise with the absolute authority of the name above all names. Every single word I have spoken to you today is a binding contract, guaranteed by my own blood and backed by the infinite resources of heaven itself. Hear my final, permanent assurance to your weary heart. I will never, ever leave you, and I will absolutely never forsake you. Even when you make a mistake tomorrow, even when you have a day where your faith feels incredibly weak, my fierce grip on your life will never loosen. I command you to walk out of this room today with your head held incredibly high, your shoulders pulled completely back, and your heart totally full of my aggressive, unstoppable love. You are deeply seen, you are entirely forgiven, and you are massively blessed. I actively release the heavy blessing of true shalom directly over your entire life right now. Let there be absolutely nothing missing, and absolutely nothing broken in your home. I command absolute health into your physical body, complete clarity into your mind, and massive overflow into your bank account. The long wait is completely over. The brutal season of deep sorrow has totally expired. The moment we have all been waiting for is finally your everyday reality. Step forward into the bright sunlight of your brand new life, and hear the eternal, beautiful truth echoing through the halls of heaven specifically for you. Well done, my good and deeply faithful servant. Enter now into the profound joy of your Lord. Before you step completely out of this sacred encounter and into the brilliant sunlight of your permanent breakthrough, I am urgently calling you to actively seal this word by planting a monumental seed. You have just fully received the absolute magnitude of my peace, but countless souls are still wandering blindly in terrifying darkness, starving for the exact deliverance you just obtained. I command you today to aggressively store up for yourselves massive treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust violently destroys, and where thieves absolutely cannot break in and steal. I am directly asking you to become a powerful financial pillar of this mission, actively launching my eternal word to the farthest, darkest, most broken corners of the earth. In return, I will fiercely and permanently seal your household in my divine shalom, multiplying your resources so you never experience the bitter taste of lack again. Do not close this message without leaving your undeniable mark on eternity. Act right now with unshakable faith by sending a super thanks, becoming a dedicated member, or clicking the PayPal link in the description to sow your seed. Do not let this sacred, earth-shattering moment simply slip through your fingers, my beloved. If your spirit absolutely knows that your agonizing season of waiting has permanently expired, I command you to boldly seal our covenant right now. Type the words, "At last," my moment is here, in the comments below, using it as a massive, public altar of your unwavering faith. When you make this fierce, written declaration, you are violently slamming the heavy iron door on yesterday's painful delay and actively stepping into my spectacular fulfillment. Let your powerful action glide directly with my eternal decree today, and watch how rapidly I unleash the absolute impossible in your reality. Amen.